Town Sports family, good evening and welcome to the show.
Dude, that was a close one.
Oh, that's close.
That was that might be the closest call in the history of mankind.
Yeah.
But
Jesus.
good evening, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Christmas installment of 2023.
Merry Christmas,
we've
boys.
We've got a good one for you tonight. Merry Christmas chat. I got a feeling this is going to be one of our spiciest shows yet, so please make sure that you stay tuned. But as you can see, all of us are rocking our Christmas sweaters and attire, trying to get in the spirit of things.
Did we even coordinate this?
We didn't talk about it, but I saw Aaron had a hat on, so I was like, let's do sweaters. And then Todd and I put on sweaters.
And got some sweaters, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I just used the fucking ESP that is developed
You
between
knew.
the four of us.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tonight's stream is brought to you by Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale.
Ooh.
I've got a fine French Pilsner, my lair lite.
Ooh,
So
very nice.
Him beam, but
Yeah.
but I do have a
High
nice Christmas sale ready to go.
Attaboy.
Oh, there you go.
Tis the season.
Absolutely. It tis the season, chat. So, chat, we had an interesting week in the NFL last week. Quite a few upsets. Some performances that we weren't really expecting. Todd, I kind of want to toss it over to you real quick. What was your biggest surprise from last week?
I guess maybe the final score of the Buffalo Dallas game. I did. I mean,
31-10.
Yeah, but Dallas has not been great on the road this year. Obviously, all four of their losses coming on the road. Two of those four being in New York and also in Phoenix. But I expected the game to be much closer, and
Likewise.
it was bad from the jump for Dallas. Nothing was working. Shout out to James Cook if he's on your fantasy team. Good for you.
Let's go.
Jesus Christ. But
And one of mine, yeah.
I had him on a bye though.
yeah.
So
So basically, a pointless week for you.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say Buffalo just waxing Dallas all over the field. That was my biggest surprise.
Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of things. That's a really good one, Todd. That's probably the way I would lean. But I guess give me the game that ended the week and in the Seahawks beating the Eagles with
that's
Drew
awesome.
Lock being the quarterback to do it.
Get open. I'm gonna drop you this pill, baby.
For the Eagles, I think there's enough championship level players on that roster where I'm not as worried about it in the same way like we were talking about the Lions, a couple weeks ago. But I'm certainly not as confident as when the season started and they were just, ripping off wins like that.
Yeah,
that's kind of that was supposed to be the get right game.
Well, and I think you look at the beginning of the year of their schedule versus what they've had to deal with really from the second half on. It's been a much tougher challenge, and you catch all these teams back to back to back that are either fighting to get into a wild card spot or to get atop of the division or get the number one seed. And
yeah,
I mean, I'm not I mean, obviously they've already made the playoffs, and I was I was not surprised that they lost the game because Matt Patricia was calling that defense. And if I know anything about football historically, is that Matt Patricia does not do well in clutch situations.
Well, here's the thing. Last season, there's a guy that was blamed for the Eagles' defensive woes. He's having a pretty good season this year, Aaron. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, Matt Patricia. We've seen what he can do as a head coach. Not to say that people that our head coaches and aren't successful can't go back and be successful coordinators. A lot of the blame or a lot of the credit that's given to Patriots defenses, though. Obviously, Matt Patricia, longtime defensive coordinator of the New England Patriots, that's given to Bill Belichick. So, I think it's a fair knock, but we're noticing a trend in Philly, at least over the last couple of seasons. Fingers are pointed in one direction. It's typically not the head coach. It's typically not the quarterback that's throwing the interceptions. It goes to the defensive coordinator.
Absolutely. Alex, what's up, brother? Thanks for tuning in. Josh, Alex, Pops, thank you for the likes, guys. Let's go. Oh, Corey, what was your biggest surprise from last week?
I mean, I know it feels like a decade ago at this point, but my
Thursday
biggest
night?
surprise was Thursday night.
Thursday
dude.
night?
And
I was waiting for somebody to bring that up.
yeah, that was an ass beating laid by the Raiders. And
63
shout out,
to 21.
yeah, shout out to me calling Brandon Staley getting fired in the middle of the season. At the beginning of this year, that was my hot take.
That does seem like a week.
Who
and
was
a
it
half
that's
ago.
there was some like ESPN analyst that said they should fire him at halftime.
Yeah, I wouldn't have
Sherman?
disagreed.
Sherman on
It was
Prime,
Richard
yeah.
Sherman.
Yeah.
That's who it was. Yeah, it was 42-0 at half.
Yep.
Just an ass
God.
beating.
against a
Absolutely.
team who put up a goose egg the week before.
Right.
Yeah. A
Right.
bad goose. Didn't get the ball across midfield for most of that game against Minnesota.
That's wild.
Yeah. That was that. I've I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not. I wouldn't be shocked.
But I'm
if
about
I-
to drop a conspiracy on you.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if I heard that some people maybe laid down a little bit in that game to see Mr. Staley make his exit. I mean, I'm sure you guys are all the same way. I'm sitting at work. It's like 8:58. I'm like, all right, not by 9:02, he's going to be fired. And it was
Right.
like 9:04. Schefter reports. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's a West Coast team, right?
Yeah.
That's a
early.
6
They're
a.m.
up
firing.
early.
That's it.
Dude,
That's
it was
a
an
6
early
a.m.
firing. Yeah,
First
it was
thing.
an early firing.
And they're like, yeah, we don't take it lightly. And I'm like, well, you should, because he just got his fucking ass whooped. So
Yeah.
I mean, he was 2 feet out the door the whole season. It wasn't a matter of if, it was when.
Mhm.
I guess mine has to be Baker Mayfield. You guys have all the good ones for the most part.
Dude,
Baker
good
Mayfield
call.
balled out.
Perfect passer rating.
Yeah, he looked incredible. He looked incredible the entire game. Obviously, the passer rating reflects that. But man, like, he's grown up, guys. Baker Mayfield has grown up. He has matured. He is a solid quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. He's a solid quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Steelers would be lucky to have him. He is on a 1-year deal in Tampa.
Last week it was Justin Fields. This week it's Baker. I know it's Christmas. I know it's Christmas.
I
and
don't
window
care.
Shopping.
I don't care.
Just not Kenny Pickett is what we're hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Terry Bradshaw seems to think that Kenny Pickett's the guy. I just don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
we're
he's
just
also
watching-
130.
Maybe we're
years
just
old.
watching two different games. I don't know. But
Yeah.
we'll get into all that. Let's recap the picks from last week.
Terry
and
Bradshaw
then-
also used to sell used cars besides being a quarterback, so I don't know how much you can take his word for good.
Where's yeah, I guess you want to talk to Vito?
Yeah, it's just fun. Not for him
got
on Sundays.
concussed,
but-
yeah.
Yeah,
sick.
showed up to the pizza shop yesterday.
Tommy Cutlets.
Fired his agent from the outside of football
Marketing,
event.
yeah.
Yeah. Told Mr. Sean Stellato that his 5 seconds of fame is run out.
Yeah, I think it's a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would second that motion. So, all right. So last week, the best record came from chat. That was Mr. Tez at 12-4. So Tez,
job.
wonderful week, sir. Wonderful week. Quite a few of us at 11-5, and a few of us at 10-6. Josh, Pops, you guys both came in at 11-5 last week. Aaron and I collectively went with you at 11-5 last week, and then Corey and Todd
Fuck you.
dropped a game at 10-6. So it puts the overall standings. We've got a
All right,
tie
time to get to work.
again between Corey and Aaron at 144 and 80.
Been jockeying all year.
I am sitting at 140 and 84, so 4 games back, and Todd is 5 games back at 139 and 85.
Hey, give it up for Todd clawing his fucking way. I think he had like an 8 or 9 game.
He was
deficit
almost
at one
he was
point.
almost in the double digits, and he's scratched and clawed his way back. So
Buddy, I don't quit. There ain't no quitting this dog.
hey,
Good, your
Todd,
son makes
honestly,
picks
all
every
I'm
week.
trying to do is just stay ahead of you. I can't be last again.
Yeah,
can't
don't
be
forget
glad
that for
to-
2 weeks I didn't even pick my games. I've come back from that and scrunched.
I don't
it
think you
down
should
for
advertise that. I think you should just
Right.
take it with, hey, I'm
I
back.
think you should chalk it up as, hey, we did what we needed to do, and then we got there. And
We're
it's
here as a
okay now.
team. Gotcha household is back.
Fuck yeah.
All right, let's get into it. Very interesting schedule this week. Obviously, with the holiday, we've got some games spread out. We will start with tomorrow's matchup. We've got the New Orleans Saints headed out to LA to take on Mr. Goodwin's Rams. Todd, lead us off. Saints on the road in LA. Who you got?
Yeah, boys, the Rams are in the playoff picture now. We're
Yes,
talking
sir.
about the wild card Los Angeles Rams, and I think that this is just some extra coal to the fire here for the Los Angeles Rams. We've watched the Saints kind of excluding last week against the Giants, real offensively, and kind of struggle their way through 5 of their 7 wins, and we're watching the Rams play close games, stay into within 2 minutes of beating the Ravens. They're playing good football. Kyron Williams coming back from IR and running for just casually picking up $130 a game.
Can we talk about Kyron Williams for a minute?
Yeah, he's played great. I think it's
amazing.
I really look at what the Rams were last year, and there was so many question marks at running back, and obviously they drafted Kyron last year, and everybody kind of gave up on Cam Akers, and you trade Cam Akers to the Vikings and let him walk, and people you want everybody to buy into Kyron. He gets hurt, so people kind of stutter step a little bit to him, and he's come back and kind of been the glue of the offense, and obviously it's helped that you draft a guy in the 5th round like Puka, who's so sure-handed and is a nice outlet. You still have, Cooper Kupp, who just a couple years ago was a top 5 wide receiver. So,
right.
It's cool to watch the Rams kind of pick together a roster and be in the playoff picture. And I'm taking the Rams here, boys.
Absolutely. Mr. James.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have to take into account who their opponent was last week in the Washington Commanders, but Matthew Stafford looked great. 2 touchdown passes. I think he completed close to 70% of his throws, if I'm not mistaken. So a real good game for them. And maybe that's we've been using this term often, the Mario mushroom of defenses being the Washington Commanders at this point. Real quick, crazy stat. Montez Sweat is currently the sack leader for both the Washington Commanders and the Chicago Bears. If that holds, it would be the first time in NFL history that a single player led 2 franchises in sacks in a single season. That would be phenomenal.
Can
What's
I
up, Bobby?
pause? I completely forgot. I wanted to start this night off with a little trivia for you guys.
Okay.
So,
Do we win a candy cane?
I don't. You name your prize. I don't think anybody's gonna get it.
Vinny Testaverde.
No.
Fuck.
Classic answer, but no.
Yeah.
Good one.
Who is the oldest receiver to record 200 yards receiving? And who did he play for when he did it?
Jerry Rice, the Seahawks.
No.
Jerry Rice, the Raiders.
No.
Randy Moss, the Patriots.
No.
This
This is a tough one, boys.
Is it recent?
No, it is somebody who we
Give us a
grew up
time.
watching,
okay.
but they're considered one of the best. Played I'm not going to give you more hints.
Terrell Owens, the Bengals.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's go.
Nice.
Good pull.
Let's go.
Good pull. It was over 200 yards, and he did it at the age of 36
That's
with
badass.
Carson Palmer slinging him the rock.
He was good at it.
Yeah, I heard that today and wanted to drop that here. So
That's cool.
Good
you got
stat.
that a little bit quicker than I thought you would. I think I gave too many hints, though.
That's what she said.
All right, so Corey, Saints on the road in LA. Sorry, I cut you
Yeah,
off.
all good. I think Stafford played a really good game. Again, we're taking into account that they were playing Washington, but nonetheless, a win in the NFL is just that. So, Rams are playing good football when they have to at this point. Trying to get into the playoffs. Trying to, I don't think anybody's putting them up there as a Super Bowl contender just yet. Obviously, if they win out and then win a wild card game, we're having different conversations like, hey, this team's hot, things like that, but let's not put the cart before the horse here. While the Saints had a really good game against the Giants last week, I think the Rams are just playing more consistent level of football at this point. So I'm going to take LA at home.
Aaron.
He said he's frozen. He just texted us and said he's frozen. And he's taking the Rams. That's not
right.
just him staring very intently.
All right,
into his
we've
phone,
got
kind of
Elsa over here. He's frozen. All right.
Can we just
Sorry.
talk about for a second that there might be 3 teams from the NFC West making the playoffs here?
Yeah.
And last week we are like, oh, there's going to be 3 teams from the NFC North making the playoffs. Just been a kind of a wild transition over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we thought there were going to potentially be 4 teams from the AFC North in the playoffs, and then the last couple weeks happened. So,
I mean, that still could happen.
Still,
no, there's no way that happens.
I mean, currently that's the situation that we're in.
yeah.
Browns,
nobody's
Bengals,
is it though?
Ravens.
Is it
Yeah.
though?
It's the 1, the 4,
Can
the
you-
5,
can you-
and the 6 seed.
Can you realistically look at me in the face and say the Steelers are going to make the playoffs?
No. I'm sorry. I'm not saying 4 teams.
That's
saying
what I was
3
saying
teams.
was 4.
Oh, I apologize. I misheard you. Then yeah,
Okay.
I'm saying 3 teams are getting in right
Okay.
now.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that was clear that I was
Yeah.
talking about 4. So
Gotcha.
yeah, but anyways, yeah, I really like what I've seen out of Kyron Williams. He's been incredible for the Rams over the last basically the whole season. When he's been healthy, he's been pretty dominant game in and game out. And if Stafford can get everything going and Cooper Kupp can finally get healthy, yeah, we know this Rams team is something to be reckoned with, at least from the offensive side of the ball. So I don't see any reason to fade you guys in this one. Although we don't have the best luck when we all take the same team. That may be the only reason I would, but I will not do that with this one. All right, boys, we're on to Saturday. We look forward to these games twice a year, boys.
Yes, sir.
We got the Cincinnati Bengals headed to Heinz Field to take on the Steelers. I refuse to call it its new name, by the way. Still do. Always will.
What is it?
Acrisure.
Acrisure. Heinz Field. Heinz Field, baby. Yeah, I mean, we got the Jake Browning led Bengals headed into Heinz Field. Do you guys want me to go? I don't care how we go about this. I don't mind starting. You guys, what do you want to do?
Just kind of have a dialogue. I kind of get in
Yeah.
a rant mode a little bit. But
So do you guys want to start with DeMonte Casey, or do you want to finish with that?
let's get Aaron in here before we
Yeah.
talk about KZ. Let's talk about last week a little bit for the Bengals.
Yeah, go for it.
In a game where started out really good. It was it was almost a like Joe Burrow era of 23 style of football that the Bengals played, in that they started the game really, really hot. I think both offenses started really hot.
Mhm.
Obviously the asinine play call by Zach Taylor,
Third down.
calling a tight end pass in the red zone, or almost the red zone at that point. It was just
It was
insane
interesting.
to me. Yeah, what the fuck are you doing?
Just Rufus
Um,
Pages have the playbook.
especially
One of
since
those
you-
where like I'm sitting here scratching my head and I'm like,
Yeah, it didn't make any sense, especially because you just ran it down their throat the entire drive.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you had
Like-
you had Joe Mixon and Chase Brown just dominating.
It was 3rd and 1. Like,
Yeah,
what
it's
are you
third and
doing?
one. It was 3rd and 1. You could have. I would have taken a QB sneak. Hand
Yeah.
the ball off to fucking Mitchell Wilcox up the middle.
I don't
Drew
care.
Sample.
Just not
Dude,
that.
Yeah, not that. Anything but that.
So and then
I think
the
that's
game
his one flaw is just these questionable play calls
Yeah,
at random times
100%.
during the game. Like
100%.
It's
So
wild.
the game lulled. It kind of settled into what I thought it was going to be last week, and which is like a defensive slugfest. And that's kind of what most of the game ended up being. I thought the defense played great, especially DJ Reader going out early in that game. Defense
Hurts.
kind of out for the season with a quad tear. Sucks for him being a free agent next year, unrestricted. He was going to get paid by somebody. So I'm not saying that won't
I
still
still
happen.
think he gets paid. Just
I mean, DJ Reader might not get signed until week 5 or something
Yeah.
at this point. Being that would be his 4th contract in the NFL, and he's somebody that he's older. I'm not saying he's old, but he's older and coming off a quad tear, not going to be ready for week 1. It's got to be somebody with cap and nothing to lose. Kind of just my initial analysis. With that being open to change, but. And then it became a Jake Browning comeback show, and it was a phenomenal thing to watch. I think, T. Higgins did a good job redeeming himself for that day, not necessarily ready to take the blame off of some of the things, or I guess I don't know if blame's the right word, but what I've seen out of T. Higgins is a lot of drop balls and offensive pass interference so far this year. Not something that you need out of a, $15 million a year wide receiver potentially, right? So
Yep.
that was a little disappointing, but it made the catch of the week maybe. Other than Jackson Smith and Jigba.
I think you could argue one of the best catches of all season.
Yeah, it was nuts, right? And that's what he's capable of. So that's kind of the catch-22 there.
Yeah, and do we want to talk about the literal maybe half hour before when Corey's like, I'm okay with not signing Higgins.
I am still at this point.
I would, yeah.
I just thought it was really funny. It was like, you're like, I'm done with this guy. He's dropping the
No.
ball. Fuck him. And then he comes back and makes the best play of the game.
He heard
when come
me.
back.
He heard me. I motivated him and got him to a place. But at this point, I'm still not paying him wide receiver one money at this point.
Absolutely.
So,
Pop's coming in
whatever.
with a comment. The MO of the Bengals is their second and third quarter slumps via Zach play calling, then the fourth with your hair on fire.
Yeah, kind of. And I thought it was cool. I don't know what you thought about this, Todd, but at the end of the game, obviously Jake Browning had been cut by the Vikings at least 2 or 3 times.
3 times. Third time they
So-
didn't even tell him that they cut him.
So
agent
yeah,
told him.
his agent had to tell him.
They just ghosted him.
So he looked into the camera. You should have never fucking cut me. And I'm not
what a
saying
cool
that was
moment.
but I think the even cooler moment was a couple of days ago. Jake Browning in the media press conference saying, "Hey, a lot had to happen in this game, and it wasn't just quarterback play." And he referenced the defense coming up big with a 4th and inches stop. He referenced obviously T. Higgins making that catch. The offensive line kept him relatively clean for most of the day, and he kind of was like, this was a team win, and it kind of turned into my revenge game, and that's not really what it was. I don't want that to be the MO. So I thought that was a very extremely mature moment out of Jake Browning, and something cool to see for him. I think he's got a ton of fans, not just in Cincinnati, but around the league that are kind
across
of
the
rooting
league
for him,
now.
that are rooting for him to do well. So let's talk about the other side of the coin for this week's matchup in what the Steelers had last week, Bobby.
Just an abysmal game. Top to bottom. I mean, outside of the hit that we'll talk about,
Started great, by the way.
13 unanswered to start.
Yeah, I mean, we were rolling. It was fantastic. And then I don't know what the wheels just fell off. We stopped running the ball. Mitch Trubisky decided he wanted to, just throw balls over the mountains and miss
Uncle
every throw.
Rico.
Yeah, Uncle Rico. George Pickens doesn't want to block.
Dude,
Like-
what the fuck?
That
Dude,
kid
the
needs
body
to be,
language
that,
is
that kid
so
that kid
bad.
needs to just be gone.
Not
dude.
even just the body language, the
I'm-
English language. Did you see the report today? I ain't want to get hurt.
Who said
Yeah.
that?
So
George Pickens.
So, I mean, are we surprised, though, that the guy who fell in the draft for character concerns is showing up with character concerns? There's no doubt about
No.
the skill.
Yeah.
Georgia trash.
Yeah, and Jalen Warren was like, man, if that was the other way around, I would have given everything. I would have given my entire body to block for him. Like George Pickens. I don't care how talented you are. I will take character over talent 10 days out of 10, because character will win you football games. Talent won't. Sometimes talent wins you football games, but
There's a
will-
ratio for sure.
Character will win you championships. Like
Yeah, you need
I-
both. I think that
you need a little bit of both, and George Pickens is just bad. Bad news bears. I don't want him to be in a Steeler uniform next year. I hope he's not.
and that's the thing that we like. This isn't the first time we've talked about this with a Steeler locker room under Mike Tomlin.
Yeah,
I
It's
know.
lost.
I like Mike Tomlin's record speaks for himself. Let me put this caveat out there: like Mike Tomlin is very successful as a head coach in the NFL. Super Bowl ring, right? Like we can't discredit any of those things, but something eventually, like we have to talk about the fact that on a consistent basis for nearly a decade now, we talk about players in his locker rooms not either adhering to like buying into the team or being for the black and gold. They're for me. And this isn't a new thing that has just surfaced this season. We're talking about back to Le'Veon Bell, back to Antonio Brown. This shit has happened for a long time. It's not new.
I want to mention something that Dan Orlovsky
Mike
said
Mitchell.
today
Let's talk
when
about him.
I just gotten home from work. Like Sports Center was on, and whatever show Dan Orlovsky's on, I was watching that. and
Get Up or something like that, or
yeah, whatever.
He's
whatever.
on he goes
He's
through the
on our
ESPN
time.
car
He's on a
wash,
couple
yeah.
different things, but he was like, he said one thing that really like resonated with me, and like in the whole George Pickens, conversation that we're talking about. It's like the name on the front of the jersey is more important than the name on the back of the jersey.
Herb Brooks, baby,
Yeah, like
miracle.
it, like exactly. Like what a great quote, what a great pull. But like
What
it's
team
so
do you play
true.
for?
Like you need to have that team mindset. Like it's not about you, it's about the team. Who gives a shit if you don't have any catches? Like if you make a block that scores a touchdown, like that's more important than you not doing anything at all. So
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
it's just character issues, and I'm not about it. Like I honestly have questions about Mike Tomlin and his quality of being an NFL head coach, because he cannot hold a locker room.
It's not like again.
I'm not saying fire Mike Tomlin. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying
I
he
don't
needs to
think
get
you're
his
saying
fucking
that.
shit together.
No, but it's like it's weird that like we're even having this conversation
right.
because
Yep.
like you're in the NFL. Like what else? What other motivating
Rob? Good
factor
evening.
do you need to be all in?
Right.
You have one of 32 jobs that exist on the planet. Whichever role you're in, you have one of 32 jobs that exist on the planet, and you're paid handsomely to be in that role. So what is it that allows you to have this complex about you to where you don't feel as though you need to do X, Y, or Z, or you think you're above everything else? And what it oftentimes boils down to when we see these players, it's not just NFL. It's, we see it in the NBA. We see it not so much. I mean, you just don't hear about it in baseball because their PR platform sucks. But you see these players that are largely marketed that do stupid shit like this. And you're just like, what are you thinking? It's their circle. It's their circle of influence that is around them. What you're the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most, right?
Absolutely.
So like,
Here's 3 of them.
it's yeah, right. Yeah, no shit. So it's
So we're all pieces of shit then.
yeah.
That's
It's
what I took.
I don't know, man. I don't understand.
Corey, can I build off of your point? Because
Please, yeah,
it resonates very much with me. And it's kind of similar to what I said last week about
I
like
love Rob's
Belichick,
comment, by
right?
the way.
They're playing this older style of football. And when you have coaches that are like newer, they've been on different teams in different cities, coaching with different coaches. You have this like culmination of ideas that, I've learned a little bit from this tree. I've learned a little bit from this tree. I've taken what I've learned here. I've brought it over here and stuff like that. When you have somebody who's been somebody for, what is it, 17 years we're at this point with Tomlin, and obviously like Belichick longer than that, like you're stuck in this, like, the think tank is yourself and everybody else. So for instance, like, if Belichick goes somewhere else and he coaches, if this is going to come true, who's he bringing with him? Because it's not like he's had all of these coaches that he's worked with in other places that he can have this, idea. So Corey, I actually think what you're saying is right on the nose. It's just the fact that, when you've been in one place for so long, it's the same old.
Yeah, there's a feeling of content, but I do want to talk about Pop's comment. He said the Pittsburgh media has been roasting Tomlin for several years. His leadership skills have been questioned multiple times, and it's one thing to question it every now and then, but to have it occur, pretty much year after year, the last 5 or so years that they've struggled, you kind of have to ask the question. Because at the end of the day, like, did they let Ben stay too long? They sure did.
Oh, yeah.
But that's besides the point. But like when you continue to have issues in your locker room, that points back to one person. There's one common denominator for all of these players, and that's the head coach. There's been no other head coach there. There's been 3 coaches all time. He's one of 3.
Yeah.
Who else are you gonna? They've had coordinators in and out. They've had like.
Interesting.
Go ahead.
Interesting theory based on that, Bobby. On the point of he's been a coach there for that long.
Yeah.
Part of the coach's role maybe in the NFL, like a lot of these guys, like there's not so much technique. It's not like coaching. Do you think him being around veterans for a majority of his career, particularly when he came in as head coach?
Are you talking about Mike Tomlin?
Yeah, he's surrounded by veterans on his roster, and there's probably not that ability of like, okay, I'm being given a boy, a kid. I'm going to help him become a man under my tutelage. And that's not necessarily his role, but it kind of is in a sense. Like it's like a pseudo role of the head coach. And that I think that's what kind of differentiates the head coaches that are like elite in that, and that they provide guidance along the way. Whereas Tomlin, and I'm not saying like Marquise Pouncey could be a really good example of somebody that was drafted under Tomlin that he did kind of he had a lot of shit going on. Marquise Pouncey did when he got, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so he, did lead him in that example, but there's a lot of these to where he's getting these young talented players that don't really pan out into veteran like leaders on the team.
So yeah, I really like the angle that you're taking with that, and I kind of want to expand on it. So you kind of have to look at it from a perspective of, yes, like he had a lot of great veteran leadership in his locker room when he took over after Bill Cowher retired.
Yeah.
And he was able to learn a lot from those veterans. Like coaches learn from players, players learn from coaches. It is a two-way street. It has to be if you want to be successful. You can't expect to be the all-knowing person and be successful. You have to be able to take feedback from the people who are out there in the field seeing what's happening. That being said, Mike Tomlin can't be around these guys 24/7. Yes, he coaches them in practice, and he has a lot of face time with them, but you also still need that veteran leadership in the locker room to help coach these guys off the field that are going to spend time with them.
Maybe that's the void.
And maybe that's it, because this is one of the youngest rosters the Steelers have ever had. Outside of like your veterans like TJ Watt and Cam Hayward, like everybody else is relatively young. Minka. On this roster. Like,
Minka.
Yeah, to say Minka's a veteran though, like Minka's been in the league for what, 3-4 years?
No,
like
7.
Like 7, yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
He's been in there. He got drafted by the Dolphins.
3 or 4 years in the Dolphins.
This is the second he was round 3 for the Dolphins. This is his second contract. This is a 6-year contract.
Okay, time's flying for me. Anyways, but yeah, okay, so let's say three like veterans on the team. Out of how many out of 53 people?
Yeah, none of them.
That's not enough to go around.
Yeah,
and 0 on offense.
It's an interesting angle to take. So basically he's Unc Mike, right? Like he's
you got to have dad on the field.
Well, he's there to kind of like hang out and make sure the kids don't get too rowdy. But then when shit gets too rowdy, he's like,
not my kids.
All right, guys, that's my kids. I gotta bounce out. I gotta go home. That's kind of what it feels like to me. There's
a disconnect.
Well, and I really too. I don't know how. I'm not super in tune with how, like kind of the veterans of Pittsburgh and as people even. I don't see a lot of the guys that were the top tier guys in the 2000s and the 2010s coming back to Steelers games and being a part of that community as much as you hear about guys from the Browns and the Bengals and shit, even the Cowboys. Like you see those guys come back to games, they're on the sidelines. I feel like you don't see that as often from the Steelers either. I think that's where I kind of, when I like look or, I kind of read into the media of the Steelers, there's not a lot of these guys in the corner of Pittsburgh. And it's not necessarily just Mike Tomlin. I'm not shitting on Mike Tomlin here. But
I think the Steelers have a great culture from like a past player's perspective, but how much of that's on the sidelines, that's what I don't know. And that's
50 years ago though. That's what I'm saying. 50 years ago they did. I don't know if that's the same culture anymore.
I want to talk a little bit about speaking about, young players and people doing things that may be a little silly. There was a pretty big event that occurred on Saturday in that Indianapolis Colts game.
Are we talking about the hit?
I am.
Okay. Yeah. So, chat, for those of you who watched it, just
group chat's been lit.
Just put a thumbs up in the chat if you actually watched the game. The hit that we're talking about, because we're about to dive into it. It's probably going to get a little saucy here in a minute. So Pittman Jr. Takes a post route, poorly thrown ball. He had to dive for it. He got put in a really bad. He got put in a really bad position, and he took a hit. He took a hit, and it was nasty. It was brutal. Definitely a penalty by today's standards. No questions about it. He hit a defenseless receiver. That's not the conversation that we're about to get into. It was a penalty. It is a flag. He and everything that happened after the fact, I'm in agreement with for the most part. The only thing I disagree with is the season-long suspension.
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
It's the only thing I disagree with.
So what it boils down to is a 3-game suspension is what we're looking
Right.
at. Let's call
Which
that
is
what that is.
what percentage of the season? I mean, that's 15%
Well,
of the season.
If
12.
if the Steelers make the playoffs, he's out for the remainder.
They just flipped, right before we got on, fellas. They just flipped that. So if the Steelers make the playoffs, he can play.
Oh, so that's not.
Let's assume they weren't going to make. Let's assume this is middle of the year. It's a 3-game suspension.
Okay, like
think
that changes my viewpoint for a little bit, but like I don't honestly think there's like. I'm trying to collect my thoughts here so I don't get too wild.
Please
guys.
do. I have a couple, and I'd like to. I'll let you go.
If you're gonna hold the defensive players accountable for making a play on the ball, on a ball that was very poorly thrown in a bad spot to where the receiver had to make the play, when do we start holding quarterbacks accountable for making shitty throws and putting their players in a position of getting hurt?
You could make the flip side argument.
You have to hold both sides accountable because there's not just one person at fault here. It's not just Casey who's at fault. He has to make a play on that ball.
I'm not going to subscribe to the narrative that he made a play on the ball, though. Like, that's silly. Like, he didn't make a play on the ball. He made a play on Michael Pittman.
He made a play on Michael Pittman. No, it's a play on Michael Pittman Jr.
He went after the player. He didn't go. If he went after the ball, he probably would have intercepted it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he would have cut right in front of Pittman if he makes a play on the ball. That's where, if you watch from the back,
he's like 3 yards away from him, crouched down. Like, yeah, he's ready to hit him.
So it's a play on the player, not the ball.
So unfortunately for Bobby, I haven't been working, which has been great for me. And what's really cool, I've had some time on my hands. And what's really cool about what we do here at Rally Towel Sports is we record it and put it on the internet. So like you can go back and listen to it. I wrote down a couple quotes from last week when we were talking about Draymond Green, because I think they are very relevant to this conversation. Bobby, I'm going to quote one of my favorite philosophers, Bobby Lehman. If it was his first offense, that would be one thing. This is not his first offense of the season. He's been fined 6 times. In response to Todd saying it should be a season ban, that should be the minimum, is what you said last week about Draymond. Bobby also said that Draymond should not be able to play another game in the league. I don't care. That's just my opinion.
Okay, so let me count.
I got more, but I'll let you go ahead.
How long has Draymond been playing basketball? Professional.
16 years.
Long.
At least in the NBA.
How long has he been a piece of shit?
Sure. I mean, I also got
16
to see
years.
the hit that Kazi made that when he was on the Falcons that circled back up of the dirty hit that he had against Cam Newton in 2018. Like, it's not like this has only been a Steelers thing. He's not talented enough. He's not a talented enough athlete to be pulling this shit. I would agree with that. For him to get away with this is disrespectful to the league. Was another comment that was made last week.
So, but you can't like.
So
I'll let you finish. I'll let you finish.
Well, let me. Why I also like. Let's get to a couple of these comments real quick.
You're comparing a physical sport with a sport that is not meant to.
Physical sport.
Yeah, but
we're also comparing.
You're not meant to hit people in basketball.
Sure, but we also said that if what Draymond was doing in the 80s he was doing now, it would just be like nothing would happen. The game of football is changing, and it's on everybody to make that change.
I don't think it's a fair comparison to compare the physicality of basketball to football.
That's not well. The physicality of the 2 hits weren't even remotely close either, though, Bob. Like, it's not. There was a sliding scale for sure.
It's going to happen again. It's going to continue to happen, and it will. Mark my words. Again, this was his 6th offense. You kind of have to make, again, if this was his first time doing it, I probably have a little bit more leeway. In response to me saying it should be an escalated suspension, He shouldn't play for the rest of the season, and no one should pick him up next season. Get him out of the game. Again, I'm not necessarily saying that this is a complete apples to apples comparison, but it is interesting that when it's a player that is directly on the team that you root for, it does seem like there is a little bit of wiggle room, which is what we were trying to tell you last week.
So as I explained in the group chat, if this was a hit on a Steelers player, I would not want a suspension.
I don't
because
agree.
because I like the physicality of football. People are gonna it's a physical sport. Like those types of plays impact decision making throughout the game. Like that is football. The reason that these rules exist are because of the way that the Pittsburgh Steelers played football back in the late 2000s. The launching rule was created because of Ryan Clark. Go ahead.
I got
flip
one
the
more.
notepad.
I got one more. At some point, you have to make an example of a few individuals who take it way over the line just to set the boundaries.
Okay, so
So was his hit over the line? You think
Yes.
no.
Bobby? You don't think what he did was at all outside of the rules of the game?
Is he supposed to let him catch the ball?
No.
Okay.
He got
My
beat.
point exactly.
I mean, like you said, the quarterback made a bad
He
throw.
wasn't
The-
covering.
The defensive
Casey
coordinator.
was safety.
Why did the defensive coordinator not make a bad call having him that far back? Yeah, you got beat. If it is, and it was written in the letter too. When a wide receiver is in a defensive situation, it's on the defender to avoid it. And I understand
Oh, he's
that's
supposed to let him catch
frustrating.
the ball.
Why don't you
Yes.
come in with your hands? Come in with your hip. Something, not a helmet. How about that?
He went in with his shoulder. He
Down with the
back.
shoulder. Sure. Came in with his shoulder. Whatever. Where did he hit him?
He hit him in the one spot that he
He
could
could
hit
have
him.
died. Are we not like? He could have killed him. Like that could have happened.
There's so many takes, and there's a former Steeler that is on the coaching staff of the Colts, and he said that hit should not have been number one a flag, number two a suspension.
When did he play football? It's a different game, man. I'm sorry, the rules
So
change.
here, there's also precedent.
I
got a couple.
understand the
I did-
argument of the rules, but to what point are we we just need to put flags on everybody at this point?
No, that's
come on.
ridiculous.
That's-
We're
that's-
also seeing an unprecedented injury season where there are more backup quarterbacks that have played this year in any other league or any other season. Like, I'm sorry, it's not going to get better for the defenders. And at the same time, like, you are seeing defensive players that are putting on master classes this year. Offense has been extremely low compared to other seasons. Now, granted, some of that quarterback injury is a reason for that, but to say you can't play defensive football in 2023 to me is nonsense. That was a nonsense play that needs to get put out of the league.
And also to say, masterclass, saw it happen to my team on Saturday when Jake Browning was sacked. He got absolutely obliterated. I forget who the player was for the Vikings, but just absolutely smoked him. Full body tackle, brought him down, hands on the ground, perfect form in this league right now. Currently, that's how you have to play. That's how you can't go full weight on the quarterback, things like that. So there are still ways to be physical in this setting. Headhunting is gone. It's not a part of the league any longer. And to say that not having that cheapens the sport, I think
I wouldn't consider
not a
that
good
a
take.
headhunt, though. He was making a play for the receiver to not catch the ball. He didn't have an opportunity to pick the ball off.
by
He was not in the
knocking his
position. He was
head
not in
into
the
his
position to make a play on the
shoulder
ball. He
blade.
made a play on the player.
and he did so in a way that was illegal
Right.
and egregious.
But based on today's player safety, that is
Based
an
on the
illegal hit.
rules, it's a flag, but not a
Mm,
suspension in my eyes.
It's a sixth time, dude. It's not this.
So let me
play.
give you there's some precedent for what happened. There's some precedent for what happened with the suspension. We can go all the way back to about 8 years ago. Vontaze Burfict, habitual offender, playing for the Oakland Raiders at the time, going against the Colts. Jack Doyle, tight end for the Colts, catches a ball over the middle. Jack Doyle is down, stands up and tries to advance the ball. Vontaze Burfict obliterates him as he's standing up. Penalty is flown. Vontaze Burfict is suspended for 12 games at that point. Earlier this season, I want to get the name correctly, Denzel Perryman for the Houston Texans. suspended for 3 games after a hit on Jamar Chase as he was sliding to the ground. Not anywhere near as bad a hit as what happened to Michael Pittman Jr. He was suspended for 3 games for that hit. There is precedent, is the point that I'm making.
Yeah, Kareem Jackson. Kareem Jackson's gotten 2 and 4 games.
For the, I believe, was he the hit on Josh Dobbs?
Mhm.
Or was that Perryman?
Yep. And again, that
Kareem
was
Jackson.
Yeah.
and that was he had done it multiple times that year.
And that was after a 4 game that got appealed down to 2 when he made the hit on Josh Dobbs. Don't
I
forget
think if
that.
this is the first time that this happens, this guy's getting ejected and we're not hearing. He's getting a fine.
Yeah,
That's
you
all
get a
that's
fine, you get ejected. You hope he never does it again. But like a guy like I don't want to, like, the NFL doesn't want to live in a world where somebody like Michael Pittman, who can be in the playoffs, isn't available because of a hit like this.
Yeah, it's a business decision at that point too. You're attacking assets. Like
What would I rather have? Him let him make that catch, or Pittman doesn't play football again? Which could have happened on that
Look,
play.
I'm all
I mean, that could
about.
happen on any play.
I'm
But
all about.
Sure, but
I'm not about people getting wrecked and they're having their careers ended. What?
I know
Ryan
you're
Shazier-
not. And I'm
Ryan
not trying to paint you
Shazier
that way.
broke his neck making a tackle.
that was his fault.
It was his fault because he lowered his head. But my point is that I'm not about people getting hurt.
I know you're not, and I'm not trying to paint you that way. I really want that to come across. But Bobby, let's be real here. If this was on any other team, I don't think you would be having the same opinion.
I would 1,000% have the same opinion. This is a physical
And
game,
it's hard
guys.
to say.
Yeah, but
I-
there's a difference between what he did and being physical. Like Myles Garrett is a physical football player. I've never seen him do that. Who's the most physical player in football? Maybe it's TJ Watt.
Miles
right?
Garrett isn't out in coverage. The worst hits happen out in coverage.
I mean, blindside hits are pretty hard too when you're not prepared for it. But yes,
Yeah,
yes,
but those
sure.
guys are running
Sure.
full speed.
Over the top hits. Yeah, those are big.
Across the middle and over the top hits, those are the biggest hits in the game.
An extended defenseless player, you cannot do that. You can't.
Right.
That's not new either. This isn't like, well, 2023 they got soft. This is like almost a 10-year-old rule at this point. The defenseless receiver hit. Like that. This is like this kid was this guy was probably in college when this rule was implemented. So the ignorance not something that's able to be played here as a card for this guy, but I just
When you slow that play down, I mean, real time, that play looked gross, and I was right on your guys' side.
That's
But
what
when you-
happened, was
but
real time.
when you watch it like on replay, he did everything he could to make it as legal as possible. Although there was no way he was going to do that. He did
or
everything
just
he
let
could
him
to
hit
try
the ground and then tag him.
Or try
I
to
hate
play the
that.
football.
I hate that for the sport.
Yeah, or hit him in the body. How about that?
He didn't try to.
How can you hit somebody in
extend
the
to knock
body
the
when
ball out
they're
of his hands.
when they're leading with their
He's
head and
going like
shoulder?
this. Go to knock the football out of his hands.
That's very easily said sitting in your chair in your room right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's
it
what
is
they get
what-
paid to do, though. That's their job.
That's what
Their job. Their job.
You're
Their
talking
job.
about the difference between. You just said in real time that thing looked gross, and you're slowing it down. Being, well, he did everything. Real time is real fucking time. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen,
I think
Bobby,
if
you
it,
knew
It's-
we didn't
it-
agree. Like I,
Yeah.
It's
I don't
3
think
on
you're
1, and
leaving-
I'm fine. I'm good. I got the
Well,
Bengals.
let's get to some of these chat coming here, Bob.
Yeah,
and,
go ahead.
and Bobby,
take it away.
I don't think you're. I'm fine with the opinion of this makes the game soft, and like that's an opinion we've like people have had for a long time, and I know it seems like we're ganging up on you, and
That's
I'm
exactly
sorry
what's
for that.
well, yeah, well,
Well,
we all
disagree with you.
It's fine. It's fine.
at the-
I'm just saying. I'm done with the fight. You guys, if you want to read chat, go for it. I made my pick. Take it away.
All right. Ted's coming with a comment. He says, my take, bad hit for sure. Bobby's taking his ball and going home. He said, should he been ejected? Sure. Suspended the rest of the season? Absolutely not. Tez is on your side here, Bob. He's saying you can't hold QBs accountable for, quote, the type of throw. There are too many factors involved in that can cause bad throws for QBs. It's a good point.
Great.
There's a lot of factors involved in players getting hit across the middle because of a bad ball.
Yeah, like safeties making bad choices. He said that had he been suspended for hits before If not, there should always be some system for progressive discipline. Commenting about Ryan Clark being the reason for these rules, dude. It started before Clark. John Lynch was the ultimate launching machine.
That's true.
Another comment from Tez. Tez leading the chat here. Appreciate you, buddy. Now the one play that pisses me off is when a QB run and starts to slide, and in a split second before the defender is near, causing flags on the defender. They have to do something about that.
That's like the high-low hit. Is that what he's talking about?
Yeah, so like
You
the
have to come
defender's
in
coming
high.
in and he
Like
starts
what happened
to
on Josh
slide.
Allen last week when he tried to slide and then somebody
Oh,
came
yeah,
whizzing
yeah.
over the top of him. Like, yeah, I
They got
agree.
15
Like,
for that.
yeah, like if he would have connected, Josh Allen would have been gone for the rest of the game. If he would have connected, Josh Allen been out. His head would have hit helmet and then hit turf, and then Josh Allen's brain would have been mashed potatoes for the next week. So, but yeah, I mean, a lot of that is on the quarterback. You know, those plays are tough because, like, what are you supposed to do as a defender? Are you supposed to like wait for him to slide or like?
Are you talking about on a QB run? Is that what
Yeah,
you
on a
mean?
QB run.
You have to let him slide and tap him. So say,
But
yeah,
what
you
if he like does a Kenny Pickett and fakes the
a
slide and
flag.
then just keeps
It's a
running?
flag.
It's a flag
It's a
now.
flag. It's a flag.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, we
Is that an
had
actual
that
penalty now?
last week with Justin Fields, and really what happened was like his cleat got caught in the grass, and he like went to slide, but then we let him go, and then he tumbled into a first down, and he got the first down. And in my opinion, it was the wrong call because you're down when you initiate the slide, not where
Yeah.
you finish the slide.
Correct. Yeah, they fixed that after that. That was like one of the.
So
first
like, yeah,
rules that
it
you
went
implemented
against
after the
us this
Pickett
past
slide.
week, and I rarely will let it be like, hey, one play is what's gonna decide the game. Ultimately, it came out in the wash, but like, yeah, I was yelling at the TV because of that play, but the refs also just got it wrong.
Yeah.
Happens.
Nothing new for the rest this year. Charlie coming in with a comment saying these players are so fast. A causation of penalties are compounded. Margin of error is slim. Aggressive players are watched for excessive action.
Aggression by definition leads to higher risk. You know, like you can be an aggressive player, and a lot of times that might mean, you know, take like a Trayvon Diggs, like going for the interception. You know, he's going to make a really, really good play sometimes, but he's also probably going to miss and let the receiver go for 80 yards a couple times too. Being aggressive is great, but you know, you're going to lose some of those by definition.
Yeah. No, I think that's a fair count. Like that's a fair count. Like Mike Hilton, for instance, very aggressive football player.
Yep.
Never.
I'm fine with
once
aggression.
A personal foul.
Miss that guy.
Yeah, I get that. Josh coming with a comment saying the rules have changed. Players used to be allowed to make big hits and dislodge the ball from the offensive player. He's playing in the wrong era. There used to be Sports Center segment called Jacked Up. I loved that. It was so much fun.
Everyone did. They had made
Where
VHS tapes about it.
Yeah, where people cheered big hits. Unfortunately, if it's a bang play, the defender has to let the receiver catch the ball and not hit them. See, I'm going to push back a little bit on that, Josh. I think they can still hit them. I think it's where the contact is made 150% of the time. It's where you're making contact with the receiver. You cannot hit in the head and neck area at all. You can't do it on a defensive player or a quarterback.
It was the only reason that hit looked bad is because it was shoulder to shoulder. It was shoulder to shoulder, but it was because of the angle where his body was, which is why the hit was compounded and made it look the way that it looked. Gross.
What do you mean? Didn't he hit him right in the fucking head?
No, he hit him in the shoulder. It was shoulder to shoulder contact. If you guys go back and watch the fucking replay,
I mean,
it was
I've watched
shoulder
it a
to
lot of
shoulder.
times, so you can chill out.
It
I
was
watched
shoulder to shoulder.
Not what I saw. I'll
It
go
was
back
not.
and look at
It
it
was
again.
not head and neck area. It was shoulder to shoulder. It was basically back, like shoulder blade to shoulder pad. And the fact that he was diving at this angle is the reason why his body snapped backwards.
I see this. When I watch the replay, his head's like that from a shoulder hitting him in what looked like the chin.
Okay, so if you're going at a downward angle and you get hit in the shoulder, what are you going to do? You're going to bounce back.
if I'm
He
at
was
a downward,
also
so
completely
the guy's coming up this way at
horizontal.
me. Wasn't he coming in like that, and then he got hit right here, and then
Just
his
do me a
body-
favor once we get off here and go watch it. Just go watch it.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch
will
it again.
too.
I'm gonna do. I'll give you the
Sick puppy. I'll watch
due
it again.
diligence.
It was shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, I like. Here's my main thing, Bob. Like you are a proponent of integrity in the game and like doing the right thing, and like you are usually like more often than not, like you're the guy that's like, what is like altruistic? Like what is like the real true good? And I struggle with this being a Steelers player and you holding this position.
Did you
struggle.
see Casey's post game interview?
No, I didn't.
No, I didn't.
Okay. After we wrap, go watch.
Can you surmise it for the chat? They probably didn't see it either.
He was very passionate, obviously. He spoke to the integrity of who he was as a human being and not ever wanting to intentionally hurt somebody.
Sure.
That's never been anything about the way that he plays the game. He plays the game because that's his competitive side. He does anything he can to put his team in a better position to win the football game.
And I fully believe him doing that. He thought he was doing.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with conceding that as well. I'm okay with saying that. Yes, what he did was not malintent, or he didn't try to hurt.
Yeah,
Michael
there was
Pittman.
no malicious intent with that.
I'm
hit.
okay
he was
with-
trying,
I'm
he
okay
was
with
trying to make a
conceding that.
play.
So
It's
Bobby,
the outcome of the action. It's the outcome of the action.
right.
I don't think there's anybody.
It's a completely.
it'd be
objective
weird if he came
perspective
out
on
the
how
other
you
way and
look
was
at this.
like, "I can't."
Yeah, I
believe
tried
the
to fuck
ambulance
him
didn't
up.
come out." Right.
I didn't mean
Like,
to
that
put my
would be.
car.
That would be.
I mean,
so
that
I'll
would
take
be
a step,
brutal.
Bobby, let
I
me
didn't-
take a step back here because after the Nick Chubb injury, people in Cleveland were like, "Minka
my
is a
God,
dirty
dude,
player."
I was
No, I know. Hey,
devastated.
but let me hold on. Let me finish here. What like that was a freak injury, and because of the rules that we're talking about, essentially defenders are rewarded for going low.
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. Like I'm on your side for like that was. Don't get me wrong, Cleveland just watched their best player on offense get fucking destroyed on national television. I knew they were going to be emotional about it. In the back of my head, although I was upset about the play, I wasn't thinking, well, that he should be suspended.
That was on purpose.
He should exactly. And I'm not saying that this play was on purpose. What I'm saying is by the rules and by the letter of the law, I believe that, especially now knowing that if they do make the playoffs, he can play. I think that is more than a just ruling.
Yeah, and like I had said, I did not have knowledge of.
I don't think any of us did going into this conversation. And that's
I thought it was the rest of the season, including the playoffs, regardless.
so 4 games maybe.
I didn't know that going in. So,
I'm sorry.
and I understand that this is not his first time, with this type of an ordeal. So I do understand why they suspended him. Like I get it from that point. I guess where I'm coming from here is that I don't want to watch flag football in 5 years.
It's not gonna happen.
And these types of hits are going to happen. Like they're going to happen regardless. These hits will happen season in and season out multiple times a week.
And they'll
So
be
where do you
suspended.
stand on the where do you stand on the hip drop tackle?
Look, I understand the hit. I don't know. I don't know where
Pick
the
your
only
poison.
reason
Is my perspective.
yeah,
you have to tackle. I mean, if you're gonna make a tackle, like the hip drop, I don't know. Like the hip drop tackle doesn't. I know it's something that causes a lot of injuries, but at the end of the day, if you're a smaller guy tackling a bigger dude, what are you supposed to do to bring them down? I guess that's my question. I'm not saying like
So-
that I want people to hip drop in like every play, but
No.
like
Well, my point being is that again, we're talking about player safety. That's trying to be removed as well, right?
Right.
And it's going to happen. So my parallel being that like these actions are going to happen no matter what. There's going to be circumstances where people give up on the ball and go to the player, right? And a hip drop tackle is the same concept.
So, in my opinion, defensive players should be the highest paid players on the field because it's the most difficult position to play. If they
a defensive back in a pass protection scenario is the second hardest position on the field.
I agree with that. 100%.
So they're paid handsome. They're paid very handsomely to be
D-backs
able
are
to do
paid
that.
pretty good.
I guess my last comment here is, Bobby, I agree with your message. I don't think this is the correct vehicle.
I didn't mean to put my car into the 7-Eleven, but I just drink Miller Lite aggressively.
I agree with you. Like, I don't want to see the game get soft. I don't want to watch flag football. This is not.
If you go back and look at the hit, you watch his post game interview, you put all the
interview is
context
irrelevant
together.
to me. Again, what else is he going to say?
It's on field instances. On
Mitch
field
kill
instances.
him.
And this is number 6.
He does. He
It's on
does.
defense.
Yeah, it's like, again, I can't believe
You know,
he's still out. Like,
the last thing I'll say before we move on is that these guys know what they sign up for.
No disagreement in terms of
No.
being able to be hurt. Should still be disciplined.
yeah,
Okay, then quarterback should be disciplined for making shit throws.
no.
No.
What, like, okay, that
How do you-
play happens more often than not when, like, the quarterback's arm gets hit.
Yeah, you used to not be able to throw over the middle because people would get fucked up going over the middle, so you don't throw over the middle.
No, it's not that you couldn't. It's that
You could, but it was not
I mean,
advised.
people still get fucked up going over the middle. Like that still happens.
that still happens.
Yeah, but it's a flag every time.
Well, if you
but-
hit him in the head, yeah.
Hit him in the ribs.
Yeah.
Just chill.
All right, I got the Bengals.
Break
You
his-
guys got.
Break his hip. Break his
Let's
hip.
move on.
Angles.
I got the Benjis.
Yep.
Cool. We are all in consensus.
The
All right,
longest in consensus conversation ever. But we had to have it. And Bobby, we love you also.
No, it's all.
I
love.
wanted. What did
I
you
was the
think
first one to
gonna
say
happen
it.
with this conversation.
I expected nothing less.
Yeah.
I've been up since 3 a.m. and my patience is not as long as I thought it was going to be. All right. So we've got the second
self-blow.
Saturday game. We've got the Buffalo Bills coming off a big win going against the Chargers, who don't have
Big
a head
win.
coach.
Guys, 3 weeks ago, this was going to be a great game.
Was it?
4 weeks ago. Okay.
Yeah.
7 weeks ago. 10.
Yeah, there we go.
When they made the
Beginning of the
schedule,
year.
when they made the schedule, this was going to be a really good game.
Yeah.
Dude, the Bills are peaking at the perfect time. We
They are. They are.
Aaron, lead us off.
Yeah, I still am not on the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl, maybe not even make the AFC Championship game. But they
What
have,
if they do?
here's the thing. They could. And I made the comment probably 2 weeks ago when we were talking about college selection. Like if the playoffs were deemed or like decided by that, you'd have to put the Bills in. And at the time they weren't a playoff team. And this is why, because they're a fun team to watch with a good, healthy quarterback. Yeah, obviously I'm taking the Bills here, but you know, let's see how they finish this season. Because you're gonna have Bills Dolphins to close it out.
Yep.
Absolutely. Todd. Or
Shout
wait,
out to
Aaron, who do you have?
Bills.
Okay.
Shout out to
Six
Sean
times.
McDermott for giving Josh Allen the game ball when he had absolutely no skin in the game and them scoring touchdowns. I think that's fucking. You got.
Did he do
isn't that- Yes, isn't that hilarious?
He had like 7 completions.
Yeah, he was like 7 for 13, less than 100 yards. James Cook goes for what, like $170 total.
He must have been doing some awesome cheerleading on the sideline.
Game ball, Josh Allen, and Josh Allen immediately goes, "Oh, this goes to James. I'm going to give it to James. I don't want the ball."
Idiot.
Isn't this not the Bills offense we've been asking for years?
Is Sean McDermott in a tower of trouble?
I know what you're doing.
I don't think so.
Do you know the?
Yeah, I get
It's
it.
just-
Okay.
it's just the.
Yeah,
no,
no, I got it.
I'm taking the Bills. Easy.
They missed the
easy limits,
playoffs,
easy.
maybe.
Corey.
Yeah, I'm
Weirdest
taking.
story.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird. What a
From
weirdo.
4 years
What a
ago.
great team that was.
From 4 years ago too. That's
Yeah,
what
what
makes
a
it even
great
funnier.
team it was. Let's
And
not
now
talk
they're
about
like
Philly
rallying
instead.
around McDermott. Like that's our guy.
I love it. I think that's why that's where the pun came
It's
from.
so funny. It's
hilarious.
it's a Shane Gillis bit, basically.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Fuck
It's
yeah,
really
dude. Fuck yeah, dude.
good. Yeah, dude. Nice
You know, it
point.
was a good team.
Dude, fucking Bills.
The Taliban, dude.
Fuck yeah, dude.
The talent.
You know who else? You know who else they rallied around? Osama bin Laden. Fuck yeah, dude.
ISIS Honda or whatever. ISIS Toyota.
That's a load of
ISIS
crap.
Toyota. ISIS Toyota.
Oh man, I got the Bills here. This is Bills peaking at the right time, but like I'm not holding my breath on them being
Got Pats, Dolphins after this, boys.
Yeah, I'm not holding. I mean, that's great for them to kind of get some cupcake games before they have the big one.
Yeah. I mean,
Good
they
for
could
Bills
go.
Mafia
They could be going into South Beach week 18 at 10-6
for the division.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a fun game to watch if it comes down to that. I'm taking the Bills here. That defense looked incredibly good last week.
They did.
And I'm all about it. So, give me the Bills here. Let's move on to I think this is the smallest 1:00 slate of the season.
Oh yeah.
I love this setup though.
You're
Like we get
spread
a
out,
full
though. You get
day of
Christmas.
football.
Yeah, we get a
on
full weekend of
Christmas.
football outside of Friday. It's
The
like Friday,
NFL is
Saturday,
just-
Sunday, Monday.
And you got
Flipping
bowl
the
games.
NBA
Bowl
right
games
in the
all day
sack.
Friday, fellas. Bowl
Yeah.
games all day Friday.
We got football every day this weekend.
I'm not doing any work the rest of the week.
Guess
You
what? I got a
can't
half day on Tuesday because I'll be at Ford Field watching the Bowling Green State University take down the Minnesota Gophers. PJ Fleck, we're going to show you how to row a fucking boat. Talons up, baby. Let's go.
All right, well, let's see if Sam Howell can bring that same energy into New York to take on the Jets. Aaron Rodgers has been activated, gentlemen.
He already said
Crazy.
that he's done.
He's obviously not going to play. The Jets were eliminated from playoff contention last week with that L, but the fact that he is activated on the roster and practicing
pretty
at this
fucking
point,
cool.
pretty
It's pretty
amazing.
cool.
Pretty amazing. So
He's just wanted to be talked about all year.
Yeah,
Like
that's all it is.
he is an attention whore.
Sure, so am I.
he's
If
got
I,
mine.
if I could recover that fast from an Achilles injury,
True.
I'd be talking about it every
We
day
all
too.
do a live stream every week.
Yeah. I think he's a whiny bitch in public to the public eye most of the time too. But I think this is how many okay. So he had Cam Akers a couple years ago, right? He had the same thing, tore his Achilles like week 1, comes back week 16 or 17 and plays. This guy is 39, right?
Yeah, but the
38.
ayahuasca reduces your age by 5 years. So
Dude, listen, I
Put a
don't.
deprivation tank. It just even.
It's probably. I mean, it's a DMT field Achilles. It's fine. I mean, he's fine. I just think I would love to know the science behind how he was able to come back so quickly, and like what the actual rehabilitation is, and how they could kind of pull out like how his body reacted to the rehabilitation. Because I think there's a lot to take away from it. Because this was a different type of surgery that they did on him for his Achilles, so could be good for athletes in the future,
Science
Absolutely.
and Aaron Rodgers is a much longer conversation than we have for tonight.
buddy.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like when AP came back from his ACL injury.
yeah,
That was unprecedented, and the fact that he came back and was the year he had did he have 2,000 yards the following season when he came back from the ACL injury?
The problem is in
He had a
saying
couple,
things
I
are
think.
unprecedented is we're talking about precedents.
True.
yeah.
Facts. All right. All right. Well, let's get to the game at hand here, gentlemen. We've got the Commanders on the road in New York. Aaron, who you got?
Yeah, this is probably the toilet bowl for me this week. I just can't take the Jets. I'm going to take the Commanders. That's really all I got on this game. I mean, here's the thing: the Jets defense is good. They're going to continue to be good, but I just think they turn the ball over 2 to 4 times.
Corey.
I don't think Washington's defense is good enough for them to do that. I think this is probably the worst defense in football at this point. After
I'm
the
starting
mass,
them this week.
the mass. Are you really? Jeebus,
Hell
Chris.
It's a bold
What- who-
strategy caught.
It really is. They're terrible. They're absolutely awful.
I know.
So I think like what we're getting. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Zach Wilson looked like shit after looking.
He's
great,
not playing this week.
Right?
Yeah, you got
Is it
hand
Boyle?
injury.
We
It's
got
Simeon.
Boyle.
Or Simeon?
Simeon.
Yeah.
T-Sim,
Yeah.
former Bengal. All right, give me T-Sim. Let's go, baby. I'm taking the Jets. The backup quarterbacks in their first starts, they win games, right? Statistically, I'd be interested to see what that looks like this season.
Well, statistically, we've had more backup quarterback starts than ever.
Okay, so you have a good sample size, is what you're saying, Aaron. I'd be
The largest sample size ever. You're
Twist
right.
it however you like.
If I
sir.
could high five you right now, I would.
That was good.
Oh,
Quick on your
great.
feet. Quick on your feet.
Yeah, I'd really like to see, what that actually is. But no, I just as bad as I'm going with the better defense and the home team in Vegas. Give me the Jets. Fading the chat on this one, it seems.
Todd.
God, yeah, I hate when I have to say this, but I think I'm going to have to agree with Corey. I can't
Talk to
I
him,
can't-
Daddy.
I can't. It's so bad.
I don't feel good about it, guys.
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah,
But you don't either.
yeah. Can't put polish on a turd. Still a turd at the end of the day.
Here's the other thing. Ron Rivera apparently on his way out, according to reports that he is done after the season in Washington.
Yeah. So I'm with Corey. I think he just took the better defense in this game.
Yeah.
That's it. Maybe a little bit of home field advantage.
Give me Scary Terry and the Commanders. Let's ride.
Rags.
Dude, Sauce Gardner.
Is Howell playing or is Brissett?
Yeah.
He is.
It's,
Okay.
it's Sam Howell. Yeah.
Yeah, give me Scary Terry. Give me Antonio Gibson. Let's ride.
50 Cent.
Dude,
Manny,
Chris Rodriguez Jr. Shout out to the Kentucky Wildcats had more yards than Gibson last week with Brian Robinson out. So
Is he out for the year?
no, he'll be back.
Okay,
He'll be back
okay.
on Sunday. He had like a weird twinge in his knee. He couldn't. I mean, if you're Washington,
Sure.
or if somebody's like if they're 90% healthy, you're like, hey, just sit this one
I'm
out.
gonna sit
We'll
down,
get you
buddy.
back. Yeah.
I think you're
Right.
drafted.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna go get you a nice guard.
Hey, you got shot. You got shot. You came back. That's good enough. Just take it easy. Take it
Go
easy.
get you an
well
offensive
done. Well
line.
done, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on.
that's terrible.
Let's move on to an NFC North divisional matchup. This one, should be a good game. We're gonna see who the Vikings roll out at quarterback, but we got the Detroit Lions headed to Minnesota.
Yeah.
To take on the Vikings and drink some Busch Lights, and we'll see what happens up there. But Todd, take it away.
Boys, it's nasty. Nick Mullins out on the field for the Vikings. I don't know
Nasty
He
what
Nick.
looked
his
pretty
real,
good
I don't,
on Sunday.
yeah,
He did
I don't
look
know what his
solid.
real nickname is, but he
Or
played very
Saturday.
well.
Nasty
Yeah.
Nick, I love it, dude. That's right.
Yeah. I also think that the Vikings found a little something in Ty Chandler that they didn't know that they had. I think
Good call.
that's the to me that's the kind of piece of this game for the Vikings where I think they can stay competitive.
There we
And
go. We
fellas-
finally got some discrepancy in chat.
Fellas, I'm gonna go back to a comment that I made last week, and I believe that this game against the Broncos was a completely blown wad for the Lions. They came out and dropped 42 on the Broncos.
You did say that, and it made me want to change my pick. I wish I did.
Yeah, so they completely blew their wad on the Broncos. It was a get right game. You play Minnesota 2 times in 3 weeks. You're going to Minneapolis on Sunday to play them. This is the game Minnesota takes in this 3-week roundup. I'm taking the Vikings here, and it's purely based on Vikings are fighting very vigorously to get into the playoffs, and they're on their. I believe this is the 4th quarterback for them too, as well, right?
Yeah,
Something
you
like
count-
that.
Yeah. I mean, it is,
and and Justin Jefferson's
Kirk
back
Mullen,
healthy. He played well enough against the Bengals. He had some catches. He had 2 catches like in the same drive where both catches. I'm like, there's one of 3 people to catch this ball, and he's one of them.
Yeah.
And Jordan Addison's played very well this year, fellas.
Dude.
I think that's the biggest surprise to me out of all these first rounders in this draft class is Jordan Addison.
It's the
Really?
Suns, dude. Jefferson, Hawkinson, Addison.
Yeah. It's like that's a law firm that'll chase down any ambulance
Sun
you
and
need.
Sun.
Send it here. Send it here right now. Give it to me right now. We got the Vikings and the Suns. Too bad they're going against the Sun God and Amon Ra and the Lions. Fucking
What a
coming in.
segue.
Dude, this is a game similar to what Todd's saying.
Paul Blart jealous.
Vikings are coming in. We're scrapping to get in the playoffs. I think Dan Campbell's getting in that locker room this weekend, and he's telling the Lions team, we are stepping on their fucking throat, and we are ending their fucking season this Sunday. We're doing it now. We're not pussyfooting around with week 17, week 18. We're going to make that game not fucking matter. We're coming in with energy. God damn, the Lions look so good. Not just on the offensive side, which we've seen all
Both
year, but
sides of
that
the ball.
defense looked good. What did I say last week? Good news for Lions fans. We've seen Jared Goff play good football. Guess what? He done it. We've seen this defense turn it on down the backstretch last year. Guess what? They done it. They're looking good again. Can they do it consistently? That's the big question. I think they put the foot on the throat of the Vikings. The Lions take this one on the road, take commanding lead. in the NFC North.
I'd love to see it your way. I think that's we need some disparity in the NFC because it's all falling back into this. All right, it's going to either be Philly or San Francisco again. We need some disparity in the NFC here.
Aaron.
Yeah, guys. I mean, I think this is closer to a toss up to me than it probably should be. And I like listening to both of you guys talk it through. I'm on the fence, so I'm going to stick with just what I originally had here, and I'm rolling with Todd. I kind of like what I saw out of Mullins last week. I think the Vikings defense is stout.
It's good.
Very good.
I think they
Very
are really
good.
good. Now they bleed it out last week for sure. That's an overtime game though. And that's tough. The Bengals certainly came back and that was a road game for them. Lions have the Vikings 2 times in 3 weeks. I think this is a split between them, and I'll take the Vikings at home because I certainly won't take the Vikings in Ford Field. So I'm leaning Vikings, but this is like a 51-49% one for me, and I'll stick with Vikings. I agree. I think this will be one of the best 1:00 games that we get, and I think this one comes down to a last-second field goal, last-second drive for sure.
Fuck yeah.
So, Tanner Hudson, 5 catches, 49 yards last week against the Minnesota Vikings. It's tight end for the Bengals.
Yeah.
I
Top
think
tight
we could
end since week 13, actually, in the NFL.
I think we could argue that Sam Laporta is a little bit better than Tanner Hudson.
Maybe.
Sam Laporta has another big day this week, guys. Another big day. Sam Laporta, he has been my ride or die in every fantasy league that I'm in.
Dude, really great tight end matchup this week, boy.
It really is.
Bobby just brought up a good point. It's a great tight end matchup.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's gonna be the one to watch here. Sam Laporta has another monster day. Lions take it over the Vikings. Sam Laporta, 2 tutties.
This is your dad bringing over his hot new wife to your mom's house for your birthday party. Like, this is what's happening. Like,
I haven't seen that porno.
TJ Hawkinson is your mom. And Sam Laporta is your dad's new hot wife.
Is it the long hair? Is it?
TJ Hawkinson just looks tired all the time. He has habitual tired face on a regular basis. Just pull up a picture of him. He just looks like this.
It's too busy doing all those Nordic tendencies
Like
that
Max,
he's fallen into.
or not Max. Victor Hovland.
Yeah, Victor Hovland just looks.
He's hungover off of all the mead that he's been drinking.
Yeah, that's all they fucking need.
Yeah, goat's blood.
Yeah, house you stay warm up there.
You know how Vikings roll.
Yeah, you know how it is.
Loincloths and mead.
That's just how it be, baby. All right, hey Aaron, I'm gonna kick this next one to you. We got the Browns, the Joe Flacco led Cleveland Browns.
Wow,
taking things down to Houston.
I love a good old Wilson.
Wow.
To take on the Texans minus CJ Stroud.
Yeah, it's looking like Stroud's not going to play, which is huge.
Big for you.
Dial it back.
Huge.
Yeah, I mean,
Huge.
dial it back a couple
Huge
weeks
decision.
ago. We're doing some schedule watching, and I kind of had penciled in the Jaguars and Houston's, being losses for the Browns. They've come out and somehow won these games, and they're tight. Don't get me wrong. I don't necessarily think this is going to be a blowout, regardless of who's going to be at quarterback. But if we can talk about that game last week for a second.
Yeah, please. What the fuck?
Joe Flacco threw for the most yards in Cleveland Browns history in the fourth quarter, throwing for 202 yards, 2 touchdowns. Joe Flacco's a guy. And this is what I said last week. I was like, he's going to turn the ball over.
Yeah, he's either a guy or he's absolutely not a guy.
I don't know how much of that game you guys watched.
Most of it.
All of it.
The absolute dot that he threw to Amari Cooper.
Yeah, dude. Down the
for that
sideline. Yeah.
For the tying touchdown.
Yes.
Dude, that the tightrope that Cooper walked down to get into the end zone in that play was.
It was nice. I watched the all 22 of that, like that play specifically. Have no idea how he saw that. And that's kind of what you get with Joe Flacco. And
because he didn't.
listen, he's 38 years old. I have never seen him look this fleet of foot, like moving around in the pocket. No, really. I mean, like he's never been a scrambler. And I'm not
but
saying
he could move. Like he could always move.
Yeah, but he's a statue.
He's not Tom Brady.
No. But he was more like Peyton, and I'm not comparing him to Peyton, but it's like with the Colts, where you're like, all right, he can get touched on the shoulder and move out to the right, kind of thing. And that's what we've been seeing. David Njoku, boys.
Dude, what did I eat? Fucking hurt. Fan of the pod, clearly. I give him his flowers.
He heard you.
Fucking rises
he
up.
heard you.
You know, I think that they said that was the first 2 100-yard receiving game for the Browns since Jordan Cameron and Josh Gordon.
Wow.
Last week.
Nice.
Yeah, and after
now,
the
granted,
game, he's like, "Yeah, David, how'd you get ready for the game?" He said, "I just listened to Corey James. He talks really a lot about me, and it pumped me up. So good on him."
He's like, I just had to do it for him. I mean, really, though, what we're seeing out of Njoku is what the Browns drafted 5 years ago. Like, it's crazy how, tight ends take a long time to develop.
So many bad jokes are coming into my head right now.
Go ahead.
Do they take a long time to develop, or do they just need a good quarterback to get him the ball?
It's like the stupid shit that's coming into my head right now. He's on fire. Something lit a fire under him. Just awful, horrible shit.
94 receiving yards against the Jags, 101 against the Bears. Like that is a clear connection. I'm taking the Browns here. Again, like we said, like for whatever reason, this Browns defense hasn't traveled in the same way of when they're playing at home. And Todd, that was one of the reasons I said last week, like with you, I echoing your point, like this defense at home is very hard to bet against. And really, when you look at it, they got a pick from Flacco that they took him down to the 1 yard line. It took them 8 plays to get it into the end zone. And then I think the other one was, same thing. It was a pick 6. So, they essentially gave up 3 points.
Was it 8 plays or was it like 8 lineups? Because a couple of those, they blew the ball dead early.
Sure.
Yeah.
8 lineups. Fine.
Breaking the huddle with 12 people twice in the same series.
Yeah. That was wild to see. Obviously, the Hail Mary gave, I'm pretty sure, the Cleveland Clinic more than it could handle.
That was crazy.
I mean, there was like literally a photo of like the ball in Mooney's chest.
I loved it. And they're like, "What if I told you this play ended with a Browns interception?"
Right.
Now, again, to slow it down, sure, that looks bad, dude. That's a really hard ball to get to your feet, like to make going to the ground, and then obviously his own leg kicked it out just from momentum alone.
Yeah. I know I was a little premature saying the Browns should have lost that game, but like it's a tough catch. It's tough.
That's a tough catch, and I hear you, like, but like a Hail Mary, I think has the same percentage chance of an onside kick. Actually, probably less.
Yeah, but you never see them that close. Like, I mean, you do.
Yeah,
like
you've seen some. Like, what was the one with the Buccaneers
that close?
This year, where it was like Godwin didn't turn around, like it was like right in his. You know what I mean? Like those do happen.
He just didn't turn around.
Yeah, honestly, what you're gonna see is teams doing this. I think like the play is bat it down. So let's leave a guy at the goal line to like
catch the bat.
Spot. Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, the move for the defender should be just throw it
out of bounds. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that is what it is. It was a tough game last week. But what I'm saying is I've seen this team win offensively against the Jaguars, and I've seen this team buckle up defensively and come back with the offense. I think the Browns are playing great right now, guys.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're a Super Bowl team. I certainly won't be doing that. But there's an off chance if some things go right.
But I'm about to say it.
No. What I'm going to say is,
but I'm going to say it.
What I'm going to say is there's an off chance that some things go right in the first week of the playoffs, and we somehow get a home playoff game week 2 of the playoffs.
Sure.
If we can get in. And boys, I'm mortgaging the house. I'll be there.
Fair enough. Yeah. So Aaron, I take it you have the Browns?
No, Texans. Browns.
Did I miss any other picks while I was gone?
No, we didn't pick this game yet. We were just kind of talking it, but
Corey, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, no Stroud. The Texans are the same. It's the exact same thing I said last week. Was right. So yeah, go ahead and give me the Browns.
Todd.
And
They won
Browns-
last week.
Oh, the Texans did. You're right. My bad.
Yeah,
bad.
they came back.
Yeah,
They came back down 16 on Tennessee.
Yeah,
Came
That's
back.
why I said, like, this is not a layup by any means, even with
Yeah, and
No.
then you got to think, fellas, this is a Case Keenum that was just hanging out, similar to Flacco, hanging out on a couch, and Houston picked him up, right, a few weeks ago.
And we had him 2 years ago. It's not,
Yeah.
it's a good guy.
Those are your defensive schemes.
Yeah.
Tyler, you got
These ones.
Scout team, dude.
Guys, do you
He
think
knows Joe Woods.
if Joe Flacco were to be mic'd up for a game when he throws the ball, it sounds like an old man getting out of a chair? Ugh.
Him and Stefanski look like brothers.
Yeah.
Like he's Stefanski's dad.
They're 2 years difference in age.
Yeah. They seem like they would go drink about 10 gallons of Sam Adams after a win. That's what they look like together.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
seeing that.
I'm-
Such a good
Yeah,
Yeah.
He was sexy.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a hard time not taking the Browns with the way that they've just found a way to win. Right? That's the main thing, is that they've played some tight games, but they just seem to find a way to fucking take it home. And I'm again, this is the second time I have to do this. I agree with Corey. David Njoku's a fucking stud.
Yeah. he's a
That
beast.
that game solidified for me that catch that he had on that last drive, where he basically just handled 3 Bears defenders before he went out of bounds. Like, that's a very specific talent and an athletic ability for a tight end to have. And there's just not a lot of those guys that are around like right now like that.
Top 5 tight end.
And yeah.
Njoku, let's play that game. Travis Kelce, number 1.
Mm-hmm. So
Mark
are we
Andrews obviously
saying
injured.
playing today, this week, or just like in the league right now?
I'm saying in the league right now.
Okay,
I'd
so
say Andrews is 2. Kittle's
Hawk.
3.
Hawks there.
I don't think Hawkins.
You've got to
You don't
put
think he's a
McBride
top
up
5?
there.
Who?
Not yet. Not Trey McBride.
For
No,
Air-
I'm not ready. I'm not ready to say he's top.
No,
5.
if anything, I'd put your boy Laporta in the conversation.
I was
yeah.
gonna
Oh,
say
I mean,
Laporta has to
Laporta's
be in
there for
there.
sure, but like Laporta and McBride have been 2 of the most consistent tight ends in the league this year. I don't even think Travis Kelce's in the top 5.
So that's what that's the argument. Are we talking? Well, actually, if anything, what we're seeing out of Kelsey this year is the inevitable guys.
Decline.
This guy is fucking 34.
Yeah. It was bound to happen at some point.
He's
It's-
eating
still has
cinnamon buns
here.
before every game.
He still has like 1,000 yards though, right?
He's still, even for fantasy, like I think the top, but the difference is
he's not the
it
highest
used to
scoring
be
receiver in
1,
fantasy, but
2,
Okay.
and then the rest of the tight ends because
Okay. Right.
he was that far apart.
What about
He's-
Evan Ingram? Evan Ingram should be in the
having a good
conversation.
I'd take
He's having a
Njoku.
good
I'd
year.
take Njoku.
I'd take Njoku. Yeah.
So
think
I know
Njoku's
Njoku
right around
had some issues catching the ball in the first half of the season. He had a lot of drops from what I remember. I watched quite a few Browns games, and he had issues with actually
He's still
just
that's still
securing the
issue of
ball, and
his-
that's a concern for me.
10 and 9 receptions the last 2
But-
weeks though.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that over the last 2 weeks he hasn't played like a top 5 tight end, but I'm just saying like throughout the course of the season, if you take everything into account, I can't put him in the top 5 because of those issues alone. You got to show me more than 2 weeks before I can throw you in there.
Bobby, I'm actually with you. My question was, I was curious where anyone who wasn't as biased as me lands on this. I think
Yeah.
he deserves to be in the conversation.
He's right around there. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think he's
Thank you.
around. I think he's
8.
around the.
Yeah,
I
top
think
8.
he's top 10 for sure.
I
don't
think,
think.
yeah.
I don't think there's a question about that. I mean, you could even secure him a little lower than that, but to put him in the top 5, I would have some.
I know
concern
I'm
about that.
biased, so I just wanted to gauge, where how far off I was, basically.
Yeah. So.
And I feel a lot better, to be honest.
Yeah,
But
top 8. I'd put him top
honestly,
8.
Honestly, though, I think a big reason why
a difference
David
maker,
Njoku
that's for
has
sure.
had 2 good games is because he's got a veteran quarterback who knows how to utilize a fucking tight end. I mean, when you look at the success that Mark Andrews had in Baltimore, look at who he had at quarterback for a long portion of that.
Snoop
Joe
Huntley.
Flacco.
Snoop Huntley fed Mark Andrews the ball more than any other quarterback that's thrown him the
Snoop Huntley. I love that.
Dude, I'm so fucking.
So Flacco
Shove
takes the
that.
Browns to the Super Bowl. You trade Deshaun or
ball. You trade Deshaun.
Honestly,
or-
the
You cut him?
irony is
Just eat
the
it.
irony is
eat 300
we
mil.
all we all get Super Bowl rings, and you can argue that the trade was worth it because it doesn't matter because you got a Super Bowl out of it, and it never would have happened this way.
And then the Browns are in
other way.
purgatory for the next decade again.
Don't give a shit. If you give me a Super Bowl, I don't care.
I'm
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
dude. I'm 100% there.
I
Yeah,
will
I'll
do
go-
it.
I'll go-
I'll do
I'll
nasty
go-
things, dude.
Yeah, I'll go 0 and
Lick my
16 for
basement
10
toilet.
straight years. I don't care.
Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah.
You heard it
dude.
here first. If the Browns win the Super Bowl, he is licking his Super Bowl.
Nice.
Solid.
I'm not going to do
He's
that.
back.
I will.
He's back. Bobby's back.
All right. So yeah,
Actually,
I got
I
the
will.
Browns
I'll do
too,
it.
boys. Honestly, I'm pretty impressed with the way Flacco has stepped in. Kind of seamlessly to this offense. Yes, he's made mistakes. He made quite a few
He's
of them
going to
last
turn it
week,
over.
but he took some shots, and at the end of the day, it paid off. Especially that ball to Amari Cooper, which was an absolute dime last week. Absolute dime. That obviously put them in position to win the game. So I think Joe Flacco is still a serviceable quarterback, and with a defense like that, it kind of reminds me of the time that Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl because Joe Flacco had a pretty fucking solid defense behind him. So anything can happen at this point.
Guys, he's won the most road playoff games in NFL history. Just throwing that out there.
Well, he's got a good opportunity to be on the road in the playoffs this year.
I know, but if we get a home run, I'll be there.
All right.
I'll be there.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on.
No work today.
The next game, this is not one that I will be tuning into. We have the Green Bay Packers taking things on the road to Carolina.
Packers, move on.
Packers.
Is everybody in consensus that we're taking Green Bay and we can just skip this one?
Corey's going to talk himself out of Jordan Love. It's fine.
No, I was just gonna say he still sucks. Really bad
He
footwork.
played really good last week.
He
Just
didn't,
Baker
actually.
Mayfield played literally. All right.
Jordan Love misses wide open touchdown throws. Like it's bad. His first touchdown pass, take it off the board, not him. This is Jordan Love on the first touchdown. Little 3-yard dunk, then let Aaron Jones do the rest of it. So I mean,
So you're mad at him for
no. I just don't give him credit for it. Like take that one off of his stat sheet, in my opinion. Like he did what he had to do,
Sure.
but he also then in a red zone missed a flat route that we saw Will Levis miss at the University of Kentucky, not in the NFL. So it's just bad footwork, bad mechanics.
As I know, I had to wind him up. I'm sorry, dude. It's Christmas
Yeah,
time. You got to wind up the toys.
No good.
Ted's
Okay.
like, here he goes. Here he goes.
I'm still like his ceiling is Baker Mayfield, in my opinion. Give me the Packers.
Which you think is pretty good.
It's about average, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a fair assessment.
I'm fine with that.
I will do the unthinkable and agree with Corey like Todd has twice tonight. So
I never said he was like the worst quarterback in the league. Like
Don't make me get the notepad.
do it.
out.
Get it.
What week was that? I'm going back and listening
Yeah,
tomorrow.
all I said was I would
Fucking
never build my
vacuuming.
franchise around him. That's all I said.
speaking of people that there's a few of us on the panel that have not been too fond of, Pete Carroll, Seattle Seahawks.
Just you.
Yeah, just you.
Just you, man. They
I was,
won
I was,
last week
I,
with
I,
Drew
I was,
Lock.
I was, try- I was, I
Evil.
was, try- I was trying to lighten the load for myself. Thanks for shitting on me.
Buddy,
Sorry,
that load is all over
You
you.
basically asked for us to shit on you.
That's
Look,
a
I
full
thought you
load.
wanted.
That is a full load.
And I take it in the face in stride.
The story about Pete Carroll after the game on Monday night is so cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Him just
What
kind
a
of
what a
standing
what
out
a
on
what
the
a post game
field.
speech.
Yeah.
What a post game speech for. I mean, it's coming from me. Like
It's pretty good.
pretty good speech, guys.
He's corny, but I kind of like him.
I love him.
He's-
I want.
Uncle-
He can
that's
be
Uncle
my.
Pete.
He can be my grandpa.
Yeah, it's Uncle Pete. Great Uncle Pete.
yeah. It's just We'll
That's
just leave it
Grandpa's
there.
brother.
We'll
You're
leave
all
it
right
there.
with him most of the time.
He seems like he
Sometimes
should
you're
be like
"Ah, too much.
a governor of a state. You're like
He's
Idaho.
like he's like the
Yeah, I'm
he's
voting
like,
for Pete. What are you talking
he's
about?
like the
dude?
grandpa that walks up to you and he's just like, "Hey," grabs you on the shoulder, like, "Come over here." And then he's just like grabbing you, like every part of your body. He's like, "Hey, come over here. I'm gonna show you this. I'm gonna show you that."
Yeah, it's Uncle
Pete
Pete.
Carroll. It's Uncle Pete.
it's Uncle Pete, dude.
All right, we got the Seahawks coming off a big win against the
Huge,
Eagles.
yeah.
Absolutely monumental win. Drew Lock leading them to victory. Geno Smith apparently back this week.
Yep.
Taking on Will Levis and the Titans. Titans coming off a tough loss last week.
Yeah.
Tough loss.
Brutal for all the boys in the chat
Yeah.
for playoffs.
Yeah. Please lose.
Yeah. Yeah. We need the Titans to fuck. We
No, we needed the Texans to
We
lose.
need
Yeah.
the Texans to lose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Titans have it.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for that, Tennessee. Anyways, yeah, Seahawks looking fantastic. To be honest, you got to give it up to Pete Carroll what he's been able to do. That offense has a lot of juice, regardless of who's at the quarterback position. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba is finally stepping into his own a little bit. Like I think he's finally figuring out route running in the NFL. Like I think in college he was so just athletically talented that he was able to get away with not running like a perfect route just because he was way better than most of the people that were guarding him at that point. But at this point, he's had 15 weeks under his belt. I think he's finally starting to figure it out. And I think next season is going to be a big season for JSN. So with that being said, I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks on the road in Tennessee, boys.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget he missed so much training camp with an injury.
Mhm.
Like he's
Broke his hand.
Had a broken wrist.
was
Yeah, wrist, thank you.
was injured to end last college season.
Yeah.
Like for him to even go in the first round like that, like he fell because of it. And
Mhm.
Bobby, I got to push back a little bit. He was one of the best route runners I've ever seen. Like he was going to be a elite slot guy. Like that was his.
I'm not saying he was bad. I'm just saying he's perfected his craft up to this point.
Yeah, I will agree. Yeah, 100%. 100% agree.
That was the angle
then we're
that
on
I
the
was
same
taking.
page. Yeah, then we're on the same page. He's, you're like Lockett to me is like basically what Robert Woods was a couple years ago, where it's like, why aren't we singing this guy's praises? He's always there. He always is doing it, but he's starting to slow down a little bit. And I think JSN fills that role in very effectively.
You think it's like the Robert Woods Cooper Kupp transition in LA?
It might be next year. That's a really good comparison for sure. I don't know for sure because I still think Lockett's like his whole career just decided he's not going to take any hits. Like he slides like a quarterback more than any receiver ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a long way of me saying I got the Seahawks here. I like Levis though, guys. I kind of like Levis.
It looks like he's not going to play Sunday, boys.
He got fucked up at the end of that game, dude.
He needs to learn how to
I
protect
did see
himself
the
when he's
accordion
scrambling.
hit.
Yeah,
I will say I missed a lot of the set. So I managed to golf somehow on Saturday in 50-degree
I remember
weather.
seeing those.
Shot a 91, by the way. Go ahead, Tom.
boy.
That was it.
Oh, okay.
Okie dokie.
I
Corey.
said Todd. Well, I was throwing it back to Todd.
Oh, Todd.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, looking like no Will Levis. I'm going to make this statement, and I don't think there's any bias involved here, but I trust the Titans offense more with Will Levis at this point than I do Ryan Tannehill. I do. I think his his
gumption?
No gumption here. We're not talking.
Can I ask you a question, Todd? You watch your Kentucky football through and through.
Mm-hmm.
Who does he remind you of? Like, if you can make an NFL comp after seeing him play this many games in the NFL, because I think he's good. Like, I think he's legit good. He's just young.
Who is his NFL comp now? Like, who do I think?
Yeah, you can go 65, 35% this guy or
at his peak, like
His
who is
ceiling
Will
or
Levis?
Okay.
Are we talking like Phillip Rivers?
give me
Are we
both.
talking Drew Brees, Matt Ryan,
Or who does he
MVP
play like?
Status, like
yeah. I want to know who do you think he plays like, or he's 65% this guy, 35% this guy.
Man, that's a good question. So I think the thing that he's changed the most from Kentucky to now is being more accurate. I think the thing, like what killed him at Kentucky was that he was kind of all or nothing, especially last season. And I've never thought about giving him a player comparison though.
Can I give you one I think of?
Sure. Let me see if it strikes a chord for me.
He seems like modern NFL football, Roethlisberger. And what I mean by that is obviously Roethlisberger wasn't a running quarterback,
Yeah, but
but if you take right, he's mobile enough.
He's big enough.
He's big enough where you can't just, he can shake off a sack. But when I say modern, I mean he can get that shake off and, run it. Roethlisberger's not going to do that, but that's 15 years ago football.
Yeah. Damn, dude. That's a good question.
That's kind of why I drift to Baker. I feel like that's a cheap comp, but like,
dude,
he's
see,
so
that's
much bigger. He's so
dude,
much
that's
bigger.
where my head went.
So maybe the mix. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 65%.
Yeah, that's my head. My head immediately goes to Baker because I think of Will Levis is not afraid to take risks, but a lot of times you're watching him make a throw and your initial reaction is like, oh shit. And then he completes, you're like, oh, okay. He saw something I didn't see.
Also, could be the quarterback that his team's going against in Geno. Like that kind of like got a hell of an arm, but also makes some bad decisions at times. Like,
dude, I don't think Will Levis's elusiveness is valued enough to what he does. Like, I think that he's more mobile than people are giving him credit for thus far.
So that's
like
why I said.
I think if Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield had a baby, it'd be Will Levis.
Just his ability to navigate within the pocket, that's been something that's impressed me more. So I thought he would get to the NFL and struggle. I thought he was going to take a lot more hits in the pocket because that happened a lot at Kentucky too. He had a top 10 offensive line 2 years his junior year in Kentucky. He still got sacked like almost 40 times, something crazy, because he would hold on to the ball for forever if he couldn't find someone.
Tony coming in with a valuable comment contributing to the conversation here on Aaron's point.
No.
Appreciate it, Tony.
Thanks, Tony. If you want to elaborate on that at all with maybe 3 words, then
he's not gonna. He just says no.
But again, that's why I say modern day, because what did we say about Roethlisberger? Like, it was so hard to sack him. I that's what I view Levis like.
Yeah.
Well, Levis not playing. Give me the Seahawks.
Yep.
Awesome story for Drew though. That was fun to watch.
I'll take the Seahawks, even though they're going to be.
We think Geno's going to be back.
Yeah, it looks like it. He only didn't play because of field conditions. That was the only reason he didn't play on Monday.
Yeah,
I thought so too. Yeah.
And that actually makes me respect Pete Carroll a little bit more, to be honest with you. So.
And again, when a backup quarterback can win a game,
that might not be his decision
2 years
for him to play or not to play in those field conditions, but I'm assuming he had a part in it.
Yeah, well, it's an audition for Drew Lock too, right? Because the whole idea is that they gave Geno this, like, give him a lot of money, but after this year, team's in control of the contract. So
yeah,
traded for Drew Lock. You have him for 2 more years after this. You got to see at least what you have, what's available.
There are a lot of quarterbacks who
you got a lot of teams that are dying for good backup quarterbacks this year.
Yeah,
that
I think that's the story of this year. You're going to see the largest backup quarterback economy you've ever seen in the NFL.
Yeah,
I think you have to. I think this year's
and if Pittsburgh doesn't invest, I'm going to be upset.
Well, you still need a first, you know what I mean? Like,
we still need a number one, but
already
invested. America, we need a number 2.
You need a first string backup.
You've got like 3 backup quarterbacks.
Yeah,
we've got a backup quarterback and 2 third string quarterbacks. That's what we have.
You're the fucking Costco of backup quarterbacks right now. You got.
I mean, smart to play a guy like Rudolph around Christmas. I get it.
Yeah, I get it.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, please.
All right, who's a better Oklahoma State Cowboy, Mason Rudolph or Brandon Weeden?
Oh, dude,
Brandon Weeden.
Weeden was 30.
Justin Blackman.
Okay.
Dude, what a bust, dude. He's supposed to be the truth.
All right.
Could stay in trouble.
We're an hour and 43 minutes in, boys, and we still have.
It's the Christmas show, Bob.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games left.
Yeah,
I have to be up at 4 in the fucking morning. Thank you.
All right, Scrooge.
We all make choices.
I don't mind staying up till 11, but let's at least show a little bit of pace. I never miss a show, guys. I'm always here.
You're the man.
It's true.
I'm always here.
The best ability is availability.
You're the best.
Speaking of which, I will not be here next week.
Spoken like a true gentleman.
Like, seriously?
That is fucking hilarious. All right, boys. Yeah, sore subject here. We got the Indianapolis Colts taking things on the road to hot Atlanta, take on the Falcons. Desmond Ridder benched for the 16th time this season.
Yeah, what the fuck is
unprecedented? Yeah, Colts on the road in Atlanta.
Is Michael Pittman unable to play?
No, he's in concussion protocol.
He's in concussion protocol. He will not play this week.
Okay.
Corey, go ahead. Take it away.
No, Arthur Smith doing a really good job of making sure the blame stays off of him for as long as possible by moving the quarterback in and out consistently.
It's not my fault. We just keep changing quarterback and have no consistency.
Steichen is the head coach for the Colts. Is that
Steichen.
Steichen? Yeah, I think he's done a fantastic job. Honestly, like what we're seeing out of the Colts right now, being in playoff contention, getting that win last week, obviously helped them
JT coming back this week too.
Yeah, and even if he's not there, you've been able to see what they get out of Zach Moss, which is more than the Bills could ever pray to have gotten out of him. So
For sure.
I think that this is a hell of a coaching job that we're seeing going on in Indianapolis right now, despite all the things going against them. Whether that be your owner doing his best impression of Bobby Brown, or your quarterback going out in week 4 for the rest of the season. So,
or 2 of your players going out and shooting bald eagles.
Yeah. What the fuck, dude? Yeah. So
what?
Isaiah McKenzie.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, Isaiah McKenzie and a cornerback got removed from the team because they were hunting bald eagles and killed a couple.
Dude.
That's like it's like a fucking terrorism.
That's a felony.
Terrorism crime. Yeah, it is a felony.
It is a felony. It's a protected.
That's bad vibes.
Yeah,
it is bad vibes, but they're gone. They've removed the bad vibes. The Horcruxes are gone.
Yeah.
All right.
They
They're
even
going
took
to
away their
prison
lockers.
for the rest of their life for killing America.
Took away their lockers. Yeah.
The irony is the Eagles have been terrible.
I'm taking the Colts here. Better coached unit. They're playing more consistent football. Pass rush. Look for the pass rush to be all over Taylor Heineke in this one. And then causing that to be a reason why the run game continues to not get going. So give me the Colts.
This is not a podcast that promotes the abuse of animals. That's
true.
I just want to preface that.
Yeah. Or bird.
Corey, you got the Colts.
Yeah, I got the Colts.
Okay, Aaron.
Yeah, I got the Colts as well. They're fighting and they're playing surprisingly well in games like this, where it's like I don't like the Falcons at all. Arthur Smith is a fantasy football terrorist, and I feel bad for anybody out there who hasn't. I love for them to fire him and like give 2 second-round picks for Justin Fields and just go Justin Fields, London, Pitts, Bijan. I think that would be so fun.
That's a monster of a backfield. And
let's hope that happens, but the vibes are way off in Atlanta. I'll take the Colts.
Todd.
Yeah, Arthur Blank. I don't know if you guys saw when he was questioned about Arthur Smith. He basically just in the most professional way was like, "Well, gonna be a new coach after this year. He's got 3 more games." Yeah, that's what I took away from the interview.
Dad buys the team.
He's got that's that dirty FedEx money. Got that ground money. I'm taking the Colts too. I Michael Pittman or not, you can't go against them. The Falcons are absolutely reeling. This team 3 weeks ago was in contention to win the NFC South, and now we're talking about firing your head coach and blowing everything up. But the good news for them is that they still have a fuck ton of money next year. They could go make some signings and make some moves again, and maybe with the right head coach this time.
Yeah. No. After seeing the way the Colts rebounded last week against a defense that, in my opinion, is better than the Falcons' defense, give me the Colts. Give me the Colts. All right, boys. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking things on the road to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay obviously coming off a pretty solid win over the Packers. Baker Mayfield had an absolutely fantastic outing last week. Jacksonville Jaguars got shellacked by the Ravens. Was not even close. So
by their own doing.
Yeah, it was definitely their own undoing. Corey, lead us off. Jags on the road. Tampa, who you got?
Yeah, I don't feel great about Jacksonville. I feel really good about where the Bucs are heading at this point, and I think they're going to end up hosting a playoff game. Give me the Buccaneers.
Aaron.
I don't want to change my pick, even though it would be in my advantage to do so going against Corey. Where's this game at?
It is in Tampa.
It's the United States of America. It's at the Ray J.
That's the United States of America?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take the Bucs. It's not London, dude. They're
London, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Mr. Gottschall.
Fellas, I think we're going to see a lead change in the AFC South after this weekend.
I guess.
It's happening. It's happening. Remember
6
last
and
year
3
when
to start the year, I think, were the Jags.
yeah, yeah. Remember last year when we were all
0-2
all in
though,
on,
also.
yeah, we were all in all on the Colts to start the year last year. Remember, and then the Jags just snuck their way in. A little reversal here. A little reversal happening year over year. I think that the Buccaneers are playing some of the best football right now in terms of just getting up and down the field. Running the ball very well. Rashad White's had 5 of the last 6 weeks of over
I feel like we
100
talk
yards.
about him every week.
Yeah, and really, you look at the wide receiver room, and it's not mass. I mean, obviously, Mike Evans is over 1,000 yards, but you're not looking at these crazy games. You're just looking at key catches happening, and they're getting that. They're getting that from this offense. So I'm taking the Bucs too.
Dude, how about Godwin last week?
Yeah, great
Stud.
game.
Yeah, I see absolutely zero reason to fade you guys. Yeah, taking the Bucks.
I'm shocked on this one, to be honest.
Yeah. I
Calvin
thought I was
Rid-
going to be a lone wolf on
I
this.
think
I think Vegas is
Calvin
on the
Ridley has
Jags.
been the biggest disappointment for me this season, like across the board. Like this is a guy that everybody like thought was going to bounce back after being off for a year. And
Well, he had a
just
solid week 1, and it's been kind of a little.
I think the
teeter-totter
absence of
after
Kirk
that.
is being understated.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, and Trevor not playing good football as well. Like the fumble against Baltimore. What the fuck was
Weird.
that?
Weird.
It's weird, man.
It was definitely tough.
Bad vibes.
I mean, the
Bad vibes-
Ravens
bad
are,
vibes.
if I had to bet any team in the AFC to make the Super Bowl,
Sure, Ravens should have lost that football game. They should have lost that football game. They played bad.
They did play bad.
The Jags,
the
the Jags gave them that game. They didn't want.
no, the AFC is fighting for the middle. Like, I agree with that.
Absolutely. All right, boys. We've got the Dallas Cowboys coming off a tough L last week, taking things on the road to Miami, who had an absolutely dominant win last week, 30-0. Granted, it was against the Jets, but 30-0 in the pros is still something to be spoken about. Cowboys are on the road again. They've obviously struggled on the road this season. No questions about it. Tyreek Hill should be back this week in Miami. We'll obviously see how that plays out. The Cowboys defense has traditionally been good the entire season, but on the road, it's been a struggle for them. So I think that's what's really going to make this game interesting is the fact that it's, obviously not being played in Dallas. So, Aaron, I'm interested to see who do you have Cowboys on the road in Miami?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty heavy on the Bills last week against the Cowboys just because of how the Bills were
Yeah,
playing.
you called that one right, which is why I wanted to toss this one to you first.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And I've been heavy on the Dolphins all year. I'm taking the Cowboys here, guys.
Damn it.
This is a defensive pick. No, I'm just kidding. No, but really, like we've been talking about it all year, and it's funny that these two teams are going to play this week because these were the two teams I've compared all year. Of when they're good, they look unbeatable, and when they're mediocre, they look like a wild card. Like a low wild card team. Tyreek Hill will probably be the difference in this game. If he's comes back, is perfectly fine. I feel like I might regret this pick. But I also think if there's any team in the league that can match what Miami can do from a defensive and an offensive standpoint, it's the Cowboys. And I think the Cowboys have played better football the last 5 weeks. And I trust the quarterback more in Dallas than I do in Miami, which is weird to say.
Interesting.
Yeah, give me the Cowboys.
All right, Todd.
I'm going to sway the other way, boys. I'm going to take Miami at home. I don't have really a good in-depth analysis here. I'm just going pure gut.
Game.
I'm just
Great
going.
game.
This
This is going to be the 4:00 game that's on the TV.
Yeah. I'm going gut. I'm trying to, based on Cora's reaction, I'm trying to fade a little bit here because if I can sneak one back, I think this is one I could sneak one back on you boys.
This is a game that I would definitely have some cheese on. That's for sure.
But here's the thing: is that
Point
Tyreek Hill
playoff.
is still only 460 yards roughly away from 2K, and I believe that Mike
He's got 3
McDaniel's
weeks to do it.
also Mike McDaniel's
He's got to
a
make
big
up
enough
some
troll.
lost time.
Yeah, Mike McDaniel's a big enough troll that he's going to fucking do it. He's going to figure out a way to make it happen. It is Mike McDaniel's existence is to be a constant internet meme. And this is one of those things where he feeds into it.
I'm sure you guys saw it, but like obviously Miami's got Hard Knocks this season, and there was this video that came out this week of like him calling that, the one play drive.
The Waddle touchdown.
The Waddle one,
touchdown.
yeah.
He's like, if they come out and kick coverage, it's a one play touchdown. I'm feeling it. And he's like, okay, I see it. Like, let's go. It's gonna happen. And then bam, it happened. And it was like,
I love McDaniel, guys.
yeah. Like
God, I
McDaniel.
don't.
If you can't
he
get behind
annoys me.
McDaniel at this point, like
He's so annoying.
He's annoying.
He's
Annoying.
we're just
He's a fucking troll. He's a troll. He's
He's a nerd.
split the screen right here.
sure, whatever. Let's call him what. Let's insert any
Welcome
sort
to
of
the
internet
dark side,
sensation.
Todd.
No, I've never. See, I always let you guys just hash it out here because Corey's usually the one getting backed into a corner about Mike McDaniel and his opinion. He's just a fucking troll, and people feed into it. He's young. He's likable to the general population, and he's not a bad coach. He's not a bad coach.
Population now, Aaron.
No. So
So were
like,
you giving reasons why he's not like what?
No,
No,
so
I'm just
my reason for not
Like, he's
liking him-
likable.
I'm trying to make a fucking point. You guys keep interrupting me.
You're right,
Jesus Christ.
You have the floor.
My point being is that there have been plenty of these coaches that have rolled through the NFL and made a splash and then they fade away.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about Mike McDaniel. He's making a splash right now. He comes from the right tree of coaches. He's had the right mentors through his time to make quick wins now. But I would love to see what happens to him in 3 years when the roster turns upside down.
So that my whole thing with McDaniel has never been like that. I think he's inherently bad at his job. It's just like the flowers have come too early and he hasn't done anything. He's won 0 playoff games. He's never won the division. I understand that this, I believe, is his 3rd year as the coach.
Second.
Okay, so then let's pump the brakes is all I'm saying on McDaniel. Like, let's just calm the fuck down. Like, he's not even a top 5 coach in the league. Like, let's just chill out.
No.
Yeah,
I'm certainly not arguing that.
I don't think
just-
anybody's arguing that. I think we're
Well,
just
no, it's just the incessant media Gluck 3000 that he's been getting, and I just can't stand it. So that's my pushback on McDaniel. It's like
Bad year of Hard Knocks. Bad year of Hard Knocks, boys.
I'll riff back every single time when I see that shit. So, my disgust when Aaron made his pick is because I'm right in line with him here. This is a coin flip game, but I'm taking the Cowboys. I think overall they are a better team, and I think that in terms of like teams that can win a Super Bowl, I think if this is a Super Bowl matchup, I think the Cowboys win it.
I agree with that.
well, I'm gonna split the difference here and take Miami, boys.
Yeah, you're not helping me.
I mean, you want me to take the Cowboys, Todd?
You're just
No,
looking at
you
You know what,
looking
Todd?
at our-
I'll let you pick my game. You want me to take the Cowboys? You want me to take Dolphins?
That's not
I'm
how this panel
objecting.
works.
Yeah, I'm objecting
Yeah,
to that.
that's not how
yeah.
this panel works. I'm not one to break the rule. I'll bend them a little bit, but I won't break them.
I'll let my wife pick.
I'm taking the
but not-
Dolphins here.
Yeah, fuck
I
it, dude.
think this is the last little slide that the Cowboys take before they move into the playoff push. They're on the road. They've struggled on the road. Miami's got a high-powered offense. Dallas's secondary has really struggled against good receiving core teams, and Miami is pretty high-powered in that regard. So,
Just a wee little bit.
I think we underestimated the season where the AFC is beating the shit out of each other,
Yeah.
and the NFC, the teams are good, man. The top teams, the 49ers.
Yeah, but like, is it a case of like where the AFC is going to be more battle tested come Super Bowl, or in the NFC is kind of escaped through?
Oh yeah, I'm not ready to pick. Yeah, like say, the
It'll be
NFC is
interesting
going to
to
win.
see how that shakes out. Yeah.
yeah,
point.
it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that. So we've got the next matchup. We've got the Arizona Cardinals taking things on the road to Chicago.
Bears.
I'll lead it off.
Bears.
Or go ahead. Yeah, Bears. I'm taking the Bears, man.
Bears.
Anybody
Don't
else?
bet on the
Chat?
red bird after you cut the bird.
Rob's on
it.
here. You want to make a point? We got it. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, Bears. Bears are good, man. The defense is good.
It's almost like I said that at the beginning of the year, and
Well, they weren't. Until
but they won
traded
2
for Sweat.
games.
Okay. And I think everybody's got the Bears. We'll go ahead and move on. No need to spend more time talking about this game than I will watching it. We've got the New England Patriots taking things on the road to Denver.
Broncos.
I
Yeah.
concur.
Let's ride.
Okay, great.
That was
That's
That's
about as
a-
much time as I'm going to spend on both of those games.
that's the
on
last.
Sunday.
Is that the Sunday night game?
Yeah.
Christmas Eve.
It's because everybody would be so
Yeah, we
drunk
got
they don't
3
care.
Christmas Mondays.
Yeah, so let's see here. Yeah, Patriots Broncos 8:15, Cardinals Bears. Cardinals Bears is the last 4:25 game on Sunday. So
Yeah, spend time with your family Christmas Eve. Oh no.
yeah. So guys,
Yeah, right. Have it. I mean, it's gonna be on.
Monday, Christmas Day, we have 3 football games for you.
Sorry, NBA.
One of them, is
Yeah.
good. One of
Look
them
'em
is
right
good, and
stomped
2 of them
all
will be
over 'em.
shit. One of them will be
Stomped.
good.
Oh,
2 of them will be shit.
And they
So
will.
you're
stomped
gonna-
all over
So,
the
so
And
here's
we
how
will
Christmas
watch
Day is
all
gonna-
of them.
Here's how Christmas Day is going to work out. You're going to wake up 7, 8 o'clock. You're going to do presents with the kids and the family. Noon rolls around. You're going to put the Raiders Chiefs game on. You're
Go
not really
Raiders.
going to watch it. It's going to be on in the background. 4 o'clock rolls around. You're going to be having dinner. You'll have the Giants Eagles game on in the background.
Then it'll be pretty litty titty.
And then you'll be litty by the time the Ravens 49ers game rolls around at 8:15 on Monday night, Christmas Day.
That's the present to open.
And you are going to be ready to fucking rock and roll. That's exactly how Christmas Day is going to go.
Those
So,
are Bobby's Christmas shoes.
first game on the
Yeah,
slate,
what
Raiders
about
on the
you?
road in Kansas City. Mr. Godshaw, who you got?
I got the Chiefs at home, boys. That's it.
Yeah, Raiders suck. Don't let the 60 points against the Chargers convince you otherwise.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are winning this game, but could I see them losing it? Yup.
Yep.
And it would be funny.
Yeah,
Chiefs.
I'm the same way. Like I actually think this is gonna be a better game than
Divisional
at least
matchup.
like until halftime.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
kind of just like how the Patriots game was.
Till
last
nap
night.
time.
Chiefs. It'll be the exact same game.
Nice.
That'll be me.
Fantastic. The 4 o'clock Christmas Day game. Giants on the road
Eggnog snog.
in Philly. You guys don't everybody jump at once.
Dude, fucking this
Eagles.
sucks.
Eagles by
yeah.
70. The good thing, fellas, is that the Lakers and the Celtics will be playing at 5, and you'll be able to dual screen those if you have YouTube TV.
Talk about it, Daddy.
Yeah, dude. I think that's my game plan. Little YouTube
It does
TV.
seem weird having like all the football, but because like Christmas is an NBA holiday for me.
Yeah.
You know, I've had a lot of LeBron James to watch
Yeah,
in my
dude.
life. But like what Bobby was just saying, like I'm happy that the Monday night game, like this is really the cream of the crop of the
Could be
whole
the
week.
Super Bowl.
This is a
This-
potential
yes.
Super Bowl matchup.
Yes.
The lowest odds if you wanted to Vegas select plus 500.
Absolutely.
one
So-
seed
so
right
let's
now.
go ahead and dive into it here. Chat has the Chiefs. Chat has the Eagles. We all concur, but this is where I think we break off.
Maybe.
I think if there's going to be one game on Monday, this is the game where we have some discrepancy.
All right.
We've got the Baltimore Ravens taking things to the West Coast to take on the Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey led San Francisco 49ers. What a ball game this is going to be, boys.
A lot
I'm
of fun.
really excited about this.
What a ball game this is going to be.
Good one.
Absolutely tenacious Baltimore Ravens defense going against that high-powered San Francisco 49ers offense. This is just going to be a blast to watch.
Mhm.
As much as we all fucking hate the Ravens, this is going to be a great game.
Hopefully.
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
when I saw that, that Brock Purdy rollout, to the left, and then Christian McCaffrey catching a ball, falling to the ground,
What a
standing
terrible
up,
throw.
and then running to the end zone. I was just like, what are we watching right now?
That was a bad throw. I want to just be out there and tell you that was a bad throw.
It was a good thought. It was a terrible throw.
Well, I mean, he
But it
scored a
worked out.
touchdown. Like it scored a touchdown. Great. Put the ball on the receiver when they're that open. Like,
Yeah.
what are you?
I mean, there was
lofting?
nobody within 15 yards of
No,
him.
just put it in his chest.
And he has
Put
to
it through
dive
his
for it to
chest.
catch it,
Yeah,
and then get up and then run. So.
yeah, dude.
Which he had time to do, which was
Yes,
almost more sad.
which is insane. Yeah.
But yeah, Corey, lead us off. Ravens,
This is gonna. Yeah, we've already talked about the lead up, the build up to this game. I think this is where we're gonna see kind of the best of the league separated at this point. And I think there's one team that since the bye has played the best football in the National Football League, and that's the San Francisco 49ers. I think that they are dominating people. I think Baltimore played like shit last week and got away with one against the Jacksonville team that didn't want to win it or wasn't ready to win it. And I think that if they come out playing anything remotely like that, Mike Shanahan and this offense are going to absolutely roll them and get to a point to where they're not going to be able to come back. So give me the team that's played consistently good football over the last month and a half. Give me the team that I feel is going to scheme better. Give me the team that is going to probably execute better. I feel more confident in the mundane play that Brock Purdy brings to the table than if Lamar Jackson has to get into a hero ball situation. So all of those things said, give me the 49ers at home.
Todd.
Boys, I believe this is the last Monday Night Football game of the regular season, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
There's not one next week?
No, I think it's just Thursday, Saturday next week.
Let me look.
Because I know the last week.
Yep. So there's no Monday night game on week 17. There is
Okay.
There is no Monday night game week. Well, it's week 18 is all TBDs right now.
They never do. They never do.
Yeah,
a Monday
no,
night game
it's
on
all over
week
Sunday
18.
night because you need to give everyone equal time to get rest to the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Yep. So what a way to fucking wrap a bow, put a little bow on a Monday Night Football than to have
Christmas, baby.
Again,
Bowl matchup.
Again, this is a potential Super Bowl matchup. I think Corey makes a really valid point in that I don't think anybody's played better football in the last 6 weeks, let's call it, than the 49ers all around. Christian McCaffrey has 1,300 yards just on the ground. That's not including what he's done in the air, like another 500, something like that, some crazy number. Fellas, I think the key to win for San Francisco is to just do really the same thing they've done the last few weeks, put 14-21 on the board in the first half and be up by 7 points and never give up the lead. I mean, that's the way you win a game regardless, but that's what they do. That's what they do so well. They get a big enough lead that Brock Purdy just gets to throw his Land Cruiser into cruise control and he gets to fucking hang out. He's just hanging out. He's having a good time. He's probably playing, I don't know, the Eagles' greatest hits as he's cruising down the interstate. He just gets to have fun and just roll out a little bit, pass the ball to Debo's covered. I'll just throw the ball to Ayuk, who is like a 7-foot wingspan. I'll just toss it up to him. No big deal. Let me just hand this ball off to the left side to McCaffrey. Oh, George Kittle too. There's nothing to stop them right now. There's nothing to stop them. And I really don't think Baltimore has much of a response in terms of what they do well defensively, because San Francisco can kill you on both sides of him, whether it's running the ball or throwing the ball. I think.
Don't forget Mitchell's out for the rest of the year as well.
Yeah, Keegan Mitchell out for the rest of the season. So now that's on Justice Hill and Gus Edwards, right?
They just brought up Melvin Gordon from the practice squad as well.
Yeah, but let's not forget the fact that Lamar Jackson really stirs the drink in the run game still too.
Sure.
He's the leading rusher.
Yeah.
He has
So,
almost
Todd, you got
1,000
the
yards.
49ers?
Yeah, I'm taking the 49ers, fellas. It should be a good one. I would not be
I hope
shocked,
it is.
though, if I would not be shocked if San Fran gets up by like 10-13 early, and then it's kind of a snoozer afterwards. I would don't be surprised if that happens.
Aaron.
Yeah, actually, Todd, you just took. I would not be surprised if this ends up being like a 45-17 game somehow, with the 49ers winning. The irony of the entire season is the injuries have been such a huge part of every team. And the 49ers were the team that I feel like had the most injury concern when it comes to Kittle, Debo, McCaffrey. And it's like, oh, well, they're fine. I'm not rooting for that by any means, but in terms of, Ariel in the chat saying Super Bowl or San Francisco going to the Super Bowl, I don't want the shoe to drop. I'm not rooting for that, but like
That's
we've
what
seen
happened
it.
last year.
It's what happened last year. And it's like, it's like the undefeated team walking into the NCAA tournament, or it's like, all right, well, what's going to happen from here kind of thing. That has nothing to do with this game. That's just San Francisco long-term, especially when we were like, that was, let's face it. We were all talking about that at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I
had Bengals Niners.
We got 3 MVP candidates in this game, guys. We got Brock Purdy, we got Christian McCaffrey, and we got Lamar Jackson. I hope this is fireworks.
Yeah.
I hope this is fireworks. And there's a world where the Ravens do win this game. I think they're a really good team. I think they're the best team in the AFC right now. But yeah, no, I'd be dumb, I feel like, at this point, watching the 49ers to pick against them. So yeah, I'll take the Niners, and especially at home.
Yeah. No, the Niners are rolling. Christian McCaffrey has more touchdowns by himself than most teams have collectively.
Christmas McCaffrey, right?
Oh boy. Somebody put Aaron to bed. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, with that being said, I've got the San Francisco 49ers this week. I don't know if we've done it enough, but I think there has to come a time when we give Brock Purdy his flowers. I think at this point he's more than just a game manager. We've seen him make plays. We've seen him roll out. Granted, not all of his throws are on point, but he is making high-level decisions, and his team is winning football games, and he's protecting the football.
I wish I could give credit to, I saw this too on Twitter, making the comparison of like the Golden State Warriors, right? I don't know how much, basically the difference between Harrison Barnes and Kevin Durant, right, at quarterback. This team would win they won the championship with Harrison Barnes. No shit, they're going to win it with Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
That's how I view the 49ers right now.
Dude, you kept in the fucking Bay too. Good for you. God.
Yeah, he did. That's a good one.
He did. He kept it in the Bay Area.
Yeah,
that's a good little parallel.
It's not my own thought. I
need to see. I need to see like a game-winning drive or something like that. Like,
yes, that's where I'm at.
That's the only thing. That's my only question mark is the clutch factor.
Bobby, I do agree with you though. He is more than average.
Doing enough.
Yeah, he's above average in my opinion. He's not just an average quarterback. I think he makes good decisions. He protects the ball. I think when needed, he makes some pretty clutch throws on a dime. But I think it's when, like we saw it earlier in the season when they were struggling and they had to play from behind, and that's where the question marks come in. It's like that's what I need to see. I need to see him overcome that, like playing from behind and have that game-winning drive, like Corey had just mentioned. That's really my last question mark for him being like a true MVP. But I mean, in my opinion, it's either CMC or Tyreek Hill. Those are my 2 MVPs. No quarterbacks this year. It's got to be one of those 2 guys.
If the Ravens do win this game, I think Lamar will.
Lamar's in the conversation.
You could say the same thing about Dallas.
Yep, with Dak. That's a good point. That's a good point.
I mean, we are
but them losing to the Bills
time of the year. They did just get their ass kicked by the Bills.
But if they go out and beat the Dolphins and Dak has a huge game, that's.
Yeah, what happens if Dak turns around with like a 335 and 4 touchdown game? No turnovers.
Right, then I think he's the favorite.
Yeah.
I don't remember an MVP race this open and like
I don't remember an
Kentucky
NFL
Derby where it's
season.
jockeying, where it's like the 8th guy is now in the like it's
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
this
wild.
is definitely it's much saucier than years past because there's usually someone who finitely establishes week over week.
Or Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes is just
Right.
playing his
and
average
here
game.
comes Mr.
Yeah.
Irrelevant.
Yeah, does Pat Mahomes is playing below average football? Other people get the opportunity to
Brock
get
Purdy
their gold
absolutely
medal.
has to buy a horse now. Like, he absolutely has to own a horse and get it in the Kentucky Derby.
He's giving me equestrian vibes.
Tony coming in with a comment saying San Francisco has the top defense as well? Question mark.
Top
I don't-
three.
Yeah, I would say they're
Yeah.
up there. I don't think they're the top, but they're
Well,
close.
Baltimore's the top defense. I think you 1A, 1B them in Cleveland right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
which
mean,
is why this game on Monday night is going to be so freaking awesome. At least I hope it is.
I'm biased, but if you want to talk about the best combo team of offense and defense, it's the 49ers easily, not even close.
Yeah.
We'll find out Monday night
Monday.
Dun, dun,
in
dun, dun.
Levi
Monday.
Stadium.
Dunna, dunna. Dun, 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 dun. All right, boys. Well, that wraps it up for the picks. Do we have any other additional topics we would like to discuss, or are we ready
Yeah.
to rock and roll?
Why has Levi's Stadium not done a Canadian tuxedo night?
Good call.
That is the greatest marketing idea I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Why has nobody thought?
Because it's blue and the Cowboys are blue.
Listen, fuck it. What?
I don't know.
Mike
Just saying.
Shanahan, call me.
Hand out some
Call-
red
no.
denim, dude.
Yeah. Dude.
Yeah.
Double.
You know, if nobody who watched this podcast actually believes in the content, you've got to at least believe in our marketing ideas because
Yeah.
they are always solid.
I
We
was
always
thinking
come up with some good ass shit.
dude, I
So
think
if there's
about
any
that-
big brands out there that are watching this, hit us up. We
Dude, I'll
usually
wear
have some pretty good
I'll fucking
ideas.
wear a Canadian tuxedo every day if somebody gives me money for
You
it.
could do that.
It is a
Legal
I don't
solid
believe
idea.
You could
I don't pull off a denim jacket well. I don't.
you seem like a
That
guy that
ass
rocks a polo
disagrees,
tie,
Todd.
It's
I seem like a
it's
what?
not about what you think. It's about the attitude that you rock it with, sir.
Todd, I'm saying I think you could rock a bolo tie without a doubt.
Oh fuck yeah, dude! I do that. in a heartbeat. I'm not
Only
afraid
other
of that.
topic is Merry Christmas to you guys, your
Yes.
families, everybody else listening. Love you guys to death. I hope
Yeah.
everyone has a Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't really have anything else. Obviously, we've got Christmas and New Year's. It's going to be a tight week for all four of us with the holidays coming up. So, not 100% sure if we will have a show next week with all the holidays. Everybody's going to be traveling and things like that. So, I will keep you guys posted. Just make sure you check Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're at. We'll put up a post and let you guys know what is exactly happening over the next couple weeks. But please be safe. Have a wonderful Christmas. Hopefully Santa brings you everything that you wanted. And we will see you guys on the next show. So
Ho, ho, ho.
Merry Christmas.